never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Visit nextroundlive.com today. It's free, unless you haven't paid your internet bill. So go ahead and pay that, and then it's free. Heck, you can pull out your phone and go to nextroundlive.com right now, where you'll find all the free content that you can stomach, unless you haven't paid your phone bill. Then you need to pay that, and then you can enjoy all the free content. NextRoundLive.com is so rewarding that it should be behind a paywall, like Lance's Lock. So in summary, play Lance's Lock. Then you'll have enough money to pay your bills, and go to NextRoundLive.com, where you're always at your happiest, for free.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live Daily Show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street, because that's what you're getting after visiting NextRound.store.
She calls me Goliath when I wear the David mask. I guess the stones are coming too fast to earn now. I like to believe we can reconcile the past. Well, we don't belong in up a wall. I have become cumbersome to this world. I have become cumbersome to my girl. I'd like to believe when we can reconcile the past, resurrect those bridges with the ancient bells. But my own stone face can't seem to break her down. She remembers the bridges and burns them to the ground. I have become cumbersome to this world. I have become cumbersome to my girl. Too heavy, too light, too black, too white, too wrong or too right. Tell tonight, cumbersome. Too rich and too poor, she's wanting me less, I'm wanting her more. The better taste is cumbersome. Oh, yeah, no, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, yeah. There is a balance between
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Fantastic Monday live show now. Brown out all week on vacation. We'll get to Kalen DeBoer's first practice at Alabama today. We'll talk about that with Josh Pate, who's on the show in the next segment 2 today. And we'll talk about that with Alex Scarborough of ESPN now, no longer with ESPN, now with Bama 24/7. He'll be with us at 10:45. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Rockstar, Forrester, Tyler, Lunsford, Taylor Korn handling everything social media, and everybody else up here working towards another big week of SEC basketball, the end of the regular season. What a great atmosphere over at Coleman Coliseum, not only for game day early in the morning, but 8 hours later for the contest where Tennessee and Alabama played. And LT, my big takeaway from that was Alabama's defense did enough to win the game, but Tennessee's pretty good defensively too, and Alabama didn't get enough offense. You get enough defense, but not enough offense in a game that likely was going to decide the SEC regular season championship, and Alabama drops one.
Yeah, if you would have said, hey, Alabama's going to hold Tennessee to 81 points, Dalton Connect after coming off 39 points this past week in an unbelievable performance. Goes 5 of 14, 1 of 7 behind the arc and 13 points, you'd have been like, I feel pretty good about this.
That's right, 1 of 7 behind the arc.
But who would have known that Alabama would have absolutely shot themselves out of a game? 1 of 17 down the stretch.
Yep. And it's crazy. What was it, a 7-point lead right there about midway through the second half for Alabama? And I thought to myself right then, I was like, okay, this is starting to trend. Alabama's won 16 straight SEC games at home for a reason. They got off to a sluggish start in this game. There were a lot of fouls being called on screens, which is not typical of a Tennessee-Alabama game. Usually, that's a physical game. Rick Barnes' teams, they'll put hands on you, and they were calling it pretty tight. It got Alabama into foul trouble, but I thought that's the way the game needed to be officiated to help Alabama out. And it ended up costing Alabama some foul trouble, including Grant Nelson, who has now gone back-to-back games of not being a huge contributor offensively because he spent a lot of time on the bench.
Yeah, and fouls out, as you allude to there. But, I thought the difference in the game was kind of the end of the first half. When Alabama was down 10 and then took a lead going to half, I was like, here it comes. Like, it almost looked like it was really going to get away from Tennessee. And then you said they were down 7, and Alabama just, they couldn't hit a shot. They couldn't buy one. And you thought down the stretch, if they could somehow get back-to-back shots, they were going to win that game, and they never could.
Every point along the way this year, Nate Oates has been talking about winning an SEC regular season championship. So now I wonder, and you'll hear from him here, I want your reaction. How does this team come down off of that game Saturday where now they don't control their own destiny anymore? And they got a tough road game at Florida tomorrow. Here's Nate Oates now sort of putting this final week into perspective.
We made 2 of our last 13 field goals. We didn't score a field goal for about 9 minutes. We got to make better decisions down the stretch. I thought they were the quicker team to a lot of loose balls throughout the night. If you're going to win a championship, there's championship-level plays that have to be made that we didn't make. And when you get a 7-point lead against a good team, you can't take possessions for granted. I thought we threw away way too many possessions on the offensive end. So, we got to learn from it. We're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores. They need to grow up in a hurry. If we're going to try to have a shot to win these last 2 and try to make a run at the SEC tournament, we need those guys to grow up and play a little more like juniors and seniors and freshmen and sophomores. But you got to give Tennessee a ton of credit. They put together a tough veteran group that figures out how to win games, and they've been winning some tough games.
Yeah, and Lance, I'm going to tell you, I thought from the beginning of the season, even when they weren't in first place, I've always thought Tennessee was the team most likely to make the deepest run in the NCAA tournament, despite what Rick Barnes has done forever. They're on top of the SEC standings now. They go to South Carolina and at home and then to Kentucky, so they don't have an easy landing. But I think the SEC standings through 16 games has shaken out about right. I think Tennessee's the best team in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tennessee's the best team in the league. We got this coming up on 4 downs. Look, there is an outside Hail Mary-like chance that Alabama could still win the regular season outright if they're able to take care of business against Florida. Arkansas and Tennessee loses both those games against South Carolina and Kentucky. I think Tennessee will be favored even at South Carolina.
Yeah.
They're definitely going to be favored at home against Kentucky.
South Carolina is a glass house to me. They don't even belong in the conversation as one of the 4 best teams.
I still think they're a good team. They're one of those sneaky teams that can get to a Sweet 16, and it's just been an unbelievable from where they were last year to where they are this year. But Alabama's going to be an underdog against Florida in Gainesville. They should be able to take care of business against Arkansas, but last week it was Nate Oates talking about how bad this defense was, and he was kind of alluding to, I don't know if they've got the championship medal that you need.
Yeah, because defense wins championships. You got to have a certain amount of
and I don't know
physicalness to do it.
Where there's a weakness on this Tennessee team. Like, you talk about protecting the basketball, not turning it over. They only had 2 turnovers in the second half in a hostile environment. And even when Tennessee wasn't making shots, 12 of 40. By the way, we had 56 missed threes on Saturday night. Did it look that bad in the arena?
Well, Alabama, what did they make, 9?
Yeah, they were 9 of 37, Tennessee 12 of 40.
Yeah, 9 of 37 and 12 of 40. When Tennessee would miss, you noticed it because, you're hoping they were going to miss it if you're an Alabama fan. For Alabama, there was a moment there, it felt like the shots were going in, and then when Tennessee started making their 14-2 run, that's when, Rylands would rattle in and out, or, Marks or somebody would come up short. So, yeah, it became noticeable down the stretch after they blew that 7-point lead.
There were 54 free throws taken, 40 made, so that skews it a little bit. But it was one of the worst, at least sitting on the couch watching, aesthetically one of the worst shooting games in a big game that I've seen this year. But they still score 155 points.
Yeah.
So, you still get an 81-74, which is not like, the rock fight in the 50s.
That's right. But for Alabama, they scored 71 in Knoxville, 74 in Tuscaloosa. Their 2 lowest point totals of the year in the SEC.
Yeah, and look, and Latrell Wrightsell needs to come back. I mean,
I was surprised when Taylor and I were there. Taylor Korn and I were covering the game on our social media platform. And when he came out for warm-ups and he was in street clothes, I was like, that's not a good sign. 2 games ago, we thought Wrightsell would be back and Jalen Williams would be the one missing time. Williams has now played 2 games for Auburn, and Wrightsell hadn't been back. He's missed 4 games. And I'll turn the attention quickly to Florida tomorrow night in Gainesville. How big of an underdog, and I think Alabama will be the underdog, how big of an underdog do you think Alabama will be?
Oh, I don't think it'll be big. I think it'll be like 2.5.
2.5.
It'll be about what Alabama was against Tennessee. I think Alabama ended up creeping up to 3.5, which was really surprising that it got that high, but I think it'll probably be Florida 2.5.
Lanceslock.com to keep a idea of what's going on in the betting world, both for games tonight and the ones coming up on Tuesday.
But back to Wrightsell, do you really think that they're 1 of 17 in that stretch if he's playing? I think he's good for a couple of baskets there, and that could have ultimately been the difference.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't remember seeing Devin Cosby a lot in the
Devin
the second
Cosby
half.
He played 10 total minutes,
and that was all in the first half, I believe.
And I guess all he shoots is threes.
Yeah, I don't know what he brings to you, but
he was 2 of 4. Guys, look, he's got a lot of confidence.
He does. Sam Walters came in and started playing okay defensively, but it's a situation where Alabama has a tough draw at Florida. That's a really good team. Bama beat them a couple of weeks ago, 98-93 in overtime in Tuscaloosa. So that'll be a really big story coming up. We'll flip to Auburn, the sad news on Leor Berman and everything else on a big day where Auburn got a needed win against the NCAA tournament team, Mississippi State, after LT tells us about the Alabama Betting Alliance, how this is all going on right now. It's a huge time in our state. If you are in favor of sports gambling and other types of casino gambling here in the state of Alabama, now may be maybe the biggest moment in the state's history of getting sports gaming.
Yeah, Jimmy Parlay would love to go sit in a brick and mortar on a Saturday afternoon all day long.
To be able to watch the games there, enjoy a cocktail?
Yeah, either you're winning on your parlays and you're taking that money and losing it on the tables, or you're chasing your losses in the sports book at the tables.
Yeah, or it just keeps me from having to fly to Las Vegas to do it.
That's very true. This number, write it down, 334-261-0800, 334-261-0800. With casinos come bands out of their prime, too.
Oh, so we get
Before I
Foreigner,
Die,
Journey.
Yeah, I've seen both of them. I want to see the Scorpions. I was a big Scorpions guy growing up. I've missed them a couple of times, but they're in Vegas all the time. So maybe we get some of these acts that are 40 years out of their prime if we get a casino.
Great White? Did you ever see Great White?
I never did. I'm glad I wasn't at the show. Was it New York?
Yeah, they had an issue one show, a little pyro issue.
Oh, was that the band?
That was Great White.
Yeah, you probably saw it on Law and Order. They ripped that one from the headlines.
They do all the time. They
Yeah.
say would not ripped from the headlines, but names and things have changed there. Great White. So that was the pyro one in New York that happened.
Oh yeah. Once bitten, twice shy.
I think they were. I think they were Club La Vila, early 80s.
Oh yeah. No, I think it was later 80s, but yeah.
Later 80s. Okay.
Yeah, 334-261-0800. That is the number you can call. 334-261-0800. Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on a lottery, casino, sports betting. Need to hear from you. Did you know Alabama, one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, sportsbettingalliance.org, paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance, sportsbettingalliance.org, or 334-261-0800.
Josh Pate in the next segment scheduled to be with us, and we'll talk to Late Kick Josh and get into the football where Alabama's on the practice field today. And he's coming off a visit with Kirby Smart and behind the scenes at the Georgia program. He was in Athens when we were in Tuscaloosa. So we'll share some stories coming up in the next segment. First, as we flip to Auburn basketball over the weekend, let's start with just Leor Berman, the guy who came out of Mountain Brook and here in the Birmingham area, walked on and played 5 years, earning a scholarship and becoming a contributor, goes down late in that game with a knee injury. It is a torn ACL, and Leor's career at Auburn is over with. He ended up playing in 86 games in an Auburn uniform and just became a big contributor at different points in his career. Ball hog, can shoot the three, and you just hate to see when seasons end short in your final year like this.
Yeah, really sad because, there's still a huge expectation with this Auburn team. And he was a contributor. One of those, we talk about Auburn, one of the best benches in all of college basketball and how much production comes off that bench. He was one of those guys.
Yeah, some people say, I don't know why he got as much playing time as he did over the years. He was a guy, to me, that sort of was symbolic of the way Bruce Pearl coaches, man. He likes a guy that can get in, he may play 4 minutes one game, he may play 18 another.
Oh, effort
just brings
guy.
attitude. Yeah,
effort guy, no doubt. Defensive liability at times, no doubt. You saw that as well. But, this is a kid that, doesn't have the God-given ability, a lot of these guys, but to be able to go out there and play and get those minutes for a top 25 program like that, that's impressive.
Yeah, and 86 games he played in, and I think that's it, man. If you've got a skill set like a Holloway or Janai Broom, and you see Leor Berman go out there and bust his butt for the team, it sort of makes you do look in the mirror moment and say, why am I not playing as hard as Leor is?
Yeah,
and that can be sort of a guy that leads the pace.
And speaking of Aiden Holloway, another just head-scratching performance this past weekend against Mississippi State. Look, and they didn't need it. They controlled that entire game. They never trailed. But Aiden plays 21 minutes, only takes one shot.
Yeah. I don't know if you want him shooting once you get to be I don't know if you want him. Seriously, he had one game where he hit 5 threes at Georgia, but other than that, you cannot call his shot consistent. No, but
I don't really know watching that game how involved he was. He had, the one assist. He had one field goal attempt. To me, it's almost J.D. Davison. We heard so much from him for Alabama last year. And this is kind of a similar look to me.
You need him to not be turning it over. You need Trey when he's in there to have the offense. But as far as this team is going to go, it's going to be on the backs of Janai Broom and Jalen Williams and Chad Baker-Mazara And sadly, I don't think the guards are going to lead the way, the two guards there. You need them to just be good with the basketball and help you out defensively. And Holloway's quick as a hiccup, so that helps out a lot.
Yeah, I do think guys like Donaldson and KD coming off the bench, and then, you got really good production from Denver Jones this past weekend. Those are going to be – you're going to get what you're going to get from the strength, which is that front court in Broome and Williams. But if you can have big game from one of those guards, that could be the difference to continue to advance into March.
What is amazing now, 9 3-pointers for Auburn in this game, 9 of 19. They don't shoot the same amount as Alabama, who was 9 of 37. So they hit the same number, but with 18 less tries at Auburn. 47% from three. They're shooting the three ball pretty good as they enter their final week in 2 gimme games for Auburn, Missouri and Georgia. Here's Bruce Pearl after the beatdown of number 30 in the KenPom, Mississippi State. It's easily an NCAA tournament team, and they revenged the loss in Starkville with a win at Auburn.
Bruce, you guys have hit 40% or more of your threes for 3 straight games. It's the first time y'all have done that since 2017. Just you talked about the importance of knocking out shots this close. Just how pleased are you with your team's response in that area, especially coming off that Kentucky loss?
Well, I think about us. Think about our conversations about this team this summer, on the heels of last year's team that didn't shoot it very well, and we all thought this was a good shooting team. We all did, and my emphasis to the guys right now, it's March. It's March, and it's time to, make shots, not take shots. And guys been putting in the work, and that's what it takes to win.
At Missouri, Missouri I think is 0-16 in the league. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's a win.
Yeah, and then at home to Georgia.
That's a win.
That's a win. So Auburn's going to get that much coveted double bye. And now the question will be, can Alabama hold on to its double bye? Tennessee's going to get one. Kentucky and Florida surging trying to get that double bye situation.
I didn't realize this, but just watching the game, something I learned on Saturday, all 22 of Auburn's wins are by 11-plus points.
Yeah, when they win, it's double digits.
But, every game. And
Yeah.
20 of those 22 by 15-plus. So you wonder, does this have any effect when you get into these really tight games in the tournament?
So late in the game, if Auburn's not comfortably up, keep an eye on how they handle pressure minutes late in the contest.
You start to look, it's like they haven't had a buzzer-beater-like game all year. Even their losses, lost by 6 to Baylor, 5 to App State, 4 to Alabama, 6 to Mississippi State, 15 to Florida, 11 to Kentucky, and 8 to Tennessee. They haven't been in a one-possession game all year.
Yeah, but those are all close games. Most of those were away from Neville Arena. So really only the Florida game and the Kentucky game got out of hand.
Yeah, I'm just saying when you play in a league like the SEC, you typically see a lot of one-possession games.
Yeah, we'll see how, keep an eye on those pressure minutes down the stretch. Tell us about Michelson Laser Vision. And then one more thing in this opening segment here.
Yeah, 205-969-8100. Call. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You got 0 to find out if LASIK is right for you. Not only that, ask about the pre-inflation pricing. I got the procedure done over 20 years ago. I've still got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Listen, before we were even a show, when we were both working at different parts of our old radio partners, Chris Mortensen would come on our show. He'd come on with Fitzy and LT. He'd come on with Brown and me on Little AM 690. And in fact, back in the day, it was Mort who said, you guys need to, I got a young friend, Daniel Jeremiah, who's new in the business. He's going to be a star. You guys need to, start getting him on. And we started getting DJ on way back in the day, and he followed us through our roundtable days. And DJ and Mort have come on here a lot on the Next Round platform. Yesterday, Chris Mortensen, the word comes out, he passed away at the age of 72. And I'm telling you, LT, the guy always treated everybody in the media like we were equals, like we were ESPN coworkers of his.
Well, I can give you a story. I was at a local steakhouse, it's probably 6-7 years ago, and I'm with 4 or 5 other people, and Chris Mortensen walks up to the table, and he's like, hey, Lance, I just wanted to introduce myself in person. And like, I was blown away because I have never met Chris. He's been on the show a few times. This is back before we did anything visually, so there's no chance he knew what I looked like. So I was kind of shocked, and the people at the table are like, damn, that's kind of weird. But just the nicest guy, talked for about 5 minutes, left, and then our server comes up, who was also his server, Jay Little, and he says, I was talking to Mort, and I told Mort I hear him on y'all's show all the time.
Right.
And so he was just nice enough to come over.
Wow.
Yeah, and just engage the table, which, I never would have thought anything because I didn't know the guy. But, I mean, that just shows you're right. I mean, treated everybody as an equal. You see how well-respected he was in the business. I saw the comments from Peyton Manning yesterday. Peyton was the one I trusted Mort to talk about when I was signing with Denver. I trusted Mort to announce the retirement.
Yeah, he broke every one of those stories.
Yeah. And look, and if you've heard Mort from ESPN to maybe, our format here, he's been struggling the last few years. I didn't realize it was to this point at 72 that, tragically he passes away. And really big loss in our industry.
Yeah, with Mort, a nice guy. Who was a pioneer. They didn't have the Adam Schefters of the world when Chris Mortensen started the Mort Report and would break all the major stories. He was sort of the first to do that at ESPN. He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer for his media work. He helped launch DJ's career, Daniel Jeremiah, who we're a big fan of, and so many others. But when you think of Mort, you think first he loved God, but he's such a great family man. So we're thinking of Mickey, his wife, and Alex, who, of course, is the offensive coordinator at UAB. So our thoughts and prayers to the entire Mortensen family. And we appreciate Mort for all the great minutes he gave us over the years, almost 2 decades full of appearances here on our show. And we love you, Mort, and we hope you rest in peace now that you are whole again up in heaven. We're back in a moment. We'll flip to college football and Josh Pate. The show being brought to you by our friends at Rump Shaker. It's a great time in colon cancer Awareness Month to remember that health, when you're a man or a woman, starts with early detection.
Yeah, did you know that colon cancer, second leading cause of cancer deaths in America? It affects men and women equally. If you're 45 or older, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, it's treatable, it's beatable. Early detection is the key. For more information, you can visit them online, rumpshakerinc.org. Also, the 16th annual Rump Shaker 5K is coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regions Field. For more information and to get registered today, go to rumpshakerinc.org.
Follow John Lunsford on Twitter @JLuntz.
Ready to swap from your current auto or RV loan provider and drop your interest rate? Now is your chance. With Legacy Credit Union's annual swap and drop promotion, you can swap your current loan and save with Legacy in minutes. Whether you're a member or a potential member, Legacy Credit Union is here to help you drive into savings. Go online to swapanddrop.com or visit one of their 9 locations to take advantage of this incredible offer. Limited time offer, terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. There are so many things I love about walk-ons. Authentic, mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine prepared fresh daily from scratch. A great beer selection and TVs everywhere to watch the big game every day of the week. And of course, they've got 2 great locations on Highway 280 and 119 and at Hoover near the Hoover Met. Walk-ons is also a great place for happy hour, 2 to 6 Monday through Friday with $5 moonshine swirls, $5 house pours, and half-price appetizers. And it's an easy take-home experience for the family as well. Highway 280 and Hoover with walk-ons.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. As I said, Brownie is on vacation for the next week, spring break for his girls. So I take over the booking duties, and I'm going to tell you about Legacy Swap and Drop program, but a quick thank you to, you got to have friends who can help you through times of need. Josh Pate in just a second, who on a Sunday night said, I'll come on first segment or second segment with you to help you out, Jim, to ease into the week. If you'd like to ease into better payments with your car or truck loan, boat loan, camper loan, motorcycle loan, heck, an ATV loan, they'll do that at Legacy. The Swap and Drop program's back. Just go to this website, swapanddrop.com, swapanddrop.com. Limited time offer, terms and conditions may apply. See credit union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. It's the Swap and Drop program, 9 local branches in Birmingham. LegacyCreditUnion.com for more details about everything you get at Legacy, including engaged checking. But go check out the Swap and Drop program. Drop that interest rate and drop those car and truck payments right now, swapanddrop.com. Josh Pate, Late Kick Josh, great show last night. Back fresh off a trip to Athens, Georgia, where we'll start there. Behind the scenes with the Georgia Bulldogs. Does it look familiar over there still in Athens to what you've seen in other visits to some other programs around the Southeastern Conference?
Maybe a program, the Saban Alabama program. Yeah, it looks very similar to that. I have noticed, though, both of you probably hear this literally every day. You will hear people accusing Kirby Smart of copying or trying to replicate what Nick Saban had in Tuscaloosa. So on the surface, I used to hear that and say, yeah, probably so. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, wouldn't you be an idiot not to try and do that? Wouldn't you be stupid? How in what other walk of life do you observe someone do something at such a surgically tactical level? They win multiple championships and say, now I got to go blaze my own trail. Screw that. Forget everything this dude did. I'm going to write the book my way. Of course, he's taken success principles from what he learned there. But I'll also say this. It's not like it's a copy-paste job. There's a lot of stuff they do at Georgia I've never seen Bama do. And conversely, not everything Bama did, Georgia does. But it's as high a level an operation as you'll find in college football today.
We were in Tuscaloosa on Wednesday. I don't know if you knew that. We were getting to know the coaches. Josh Maxson, who you know well, gave us a tour around all those facilities. And I was blown away. And I was talking to Josh. I was like, there can't be many more facilities that are this nice in college football. And we started to name the Oregons and Georgias. And I don't know if you've been in that facility in Tuscaloosa, but I mean, is it basically what you get in Athens?
Yeah, a weight room. I just love the weight rooms. And Georgia, Bama set themselves apart from anywhere else in the country. Penn State just renovated, so they've got a really nice one. Oregon, Lance, I've always kind of put them in a different category because it's like going to visit a Nike campus that just happens to have an educational arm attached to it. So they're like next level, but their last renovation at Oregon was in the early 2010s, and they're getting set to break ground on a new one. So it's only a matter of time before Oregon reasserts itself at the top of this list. But in the meantime, yeah, Bama, Georgia, and then pretty much everyone else is what I've observed. And I've been in the halls of all those places, but it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'm in the minority here, but I like a modern home. I like that look, that architect. And you'll go through a neighborhood and they've renovated and they've got a traditional house, and then a modern house, and it really kind of stands out and it looks kind of weird. But Oregon strikes me as the modern house-like program. if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. I think the craziest thing at Oregon I saw is, they've got like a different uniform combination for every single game. Unlike Alabama or Penn State, if you looked at their entire game-worn collection, it would fit in half of my closet. And I don't have a big closet. At Oregon, Kenny Farr, who is the guy who runs equipment at Oregon, one of the most important jobs in the country, he takes me upstairs when I'm there. And they've got these mechanized rollout closets that just move on tracks. And a lot of places have that, but a lot of places that's for shoes and that's for equipment storage. At Oregon, they've got several rows of those things, and it's just to house all of the game-worn jerseys. They've got grass stains on them and everything. They've got the game-worn jerseys up there, and it's like walking in a Taj Mahal of fabric. And he goes, check this out. This is from 2006. Remember that game against Washington State? No, I don't, Kenny. But this looks amazing. Yeah, you can see your face reflected in the metallicized numbers. So that, to me, out of all the things I saw at Oregon, was what stood out the most.
I'm always wondering, and Josh Pate's with us, Late Kick Josh, on all the platforms you get us. Like and subscribe. Give him thumbs up as well. He'll do a mailbag show on Tuesday and then back to his live show on Wednesday. Is that the plan for the rest of the week?
Thursday will be the live show. Yeah,
I'm a Sunday nighter. I'm an old school. I grab my coffee. I watch the Sunday night show. It's habit with me. Josh Pate's with us on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline. I'm interested though with Georgia. They won 2 national championships back to back. They didn't make the playoffs on the three-peat. I don't know if the fat and happy ever played into a role last year. Are they able to keep the edge over there like, say, Nick Saban and Alabama seem to do for most of the time over 17 years? Is it still a program that looks hungry when you're there?
I think it's the most important question. It's what I went over there. I wanted to ask Kirby that, and I did. And I said, you guys didn't even make the playoff last year. Was complacency an issue, or did the ball just not bounce your way? And he was really quick to say, no, I actually didn't sense complacency at all last year. And when you're around the program, it's about as sharp an edged program as you'll find. It's just so intense in there. It's like Alabama. You guys have been around Alabama. I have as well. You walk in the building at Alabama a random day in late February, and it feels like everyone's walking a tightrope 100 feet over a canyon. And that's what it feels like at Georgia. There's no mail it in day. There's no laid back day there. Everything's like the end of the world. And so he said last year, while everyone else had us ranked number 1, we probably weren't as talented a team as we had the previous 2 years. And he said, we didn't play our best game against Ohio State. We happened to win the game the year before. We didn't play our best against Alabama. We happened to lose the game. Just sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. But it's an important distinction. If you get beat versus if things internally set up to where you beat yourself. He said, we didn't feel that at all. And I don't feel it when I'm around Georgia. I think they've got just as good an edge as they have previous the title wins.
Yeah, Josh, it's still amazing they weren't in a 14 playoff as good as they were, losing that one game to Alabama in the SEC championship. Moving forward with a 12-team playoff, it won't be a problem. They would be there, but we haven't even gotten into 12, and now we're talking about 14, and there are sources out there that say with this 14 model, you're going to have provisions where you get 3 automatic qualifiers for the SEC and the Big Ten. To me, we talked about this last week. I think this is extremely stupid. I want the best teams. And how can you have a provision for a team before you've even started a season?
So I'm not going to go 10 minutes on this, but suffice it to say, I've talked to you guys many times about how dumb I think auto bids are, period. So I never liked the concept of an auto bid. I don't like the concept of determining or predetermining how many teams will make it from a conference. So anyway, my thought on where that's actually going, Lance, is I think the SEC and the Big Ten really want to be able to say we tried at the end of the day. Okay, now this is my personal feel on this. I feel like they understand the behemoths that they already are will be even more reinforced when they expand again, which will happen in the very near future. And at that point, there won't be many reputable, highly thought of programs that aren't under one of those 2 umbrellas. And at that point, anyone with common sense looks and says, do they really need the rest of the sport to have a legitimized playoff? The answer will be no. Nostalgic versions of me want to say yes, but reality in 2024 and beyond will be no. So I think they know that. I think their television partners know that. And I think they understand moving forward, you could call it NFC versus AFC, you call it Big Ten versus SEC. It'll essentially feel like the same thing. Notre Dame can decide whatever they want to do. I think they want to be able to sit in the negotiating room in the meantime, give some good faith lip service to all these proposals, put out way too hard line to bargain, knowing no one's going to accept it, so that they can wash their hands at the end of the day, say, we tried, now we're going to do it our way. That's kind of where I think we're ultimately headed. Now, if someone's dumb enough to actually agree to the proposals they've put out there, I'm sure they'd take it. But they're planning, I think, on folks not taking it and then building what they actually wanted to build all the while down the road. And at that point, you've got conferences and you've got television networks really deciding the future of the sport. It's always been that way. It would just be more direct and in your face at that point.
So in a nutshell, you think that the ACC particularly, because I think that's where the best remaining programs are, they're on the verge of the Big Ten and the SEC going and picking a few more of their programs and maybe putting a hole in the side of their ACC ship.
Yeah, look, you guys have seen Dante's Peak, right? Both of you have seen that movie.
I have not seen it.
All right, well, spoiler alert here for a movie in the mid-'90s. It's a mountain, and you know it's going to erupt. Like, that's the entire premise of the movie. But in the meantime, there's this geological activity, and there's rock slides, and the town's water supply goes to crap. And, you know, you see smoke every now and then out of a mountain, and people keep trying to say, don't worry, that happens all the time. Don't worry, it's okay. And Pierce Brosnan is trying to tell folks, no, man, it's coming. You got to get out of here. Well, quote unquote, without warning, the mountain erupts one day. Well, it wasn't without warning. And people acting shocked and trying to get out of town deserve everything that's happening to them. When this goes down, when the ACC finally does implode, it'll happen quickly. It'll be like a random Wednesday in the middle of the afternoon. It'll happen out of nowhere. FSU's on the move, and then shortly thereafter, you'll see headlines. Clemson may go here. Miami may go there. And you'll have people say, wow, this is a shocker. But all the signs are there right now. Water supply is already soiled now. Okay, we've got seismic activity now. You really think that you're watching the ACC and the FSU Seminoles do battle in court over nothing? Like, you really think ESPN responded legally a couple of weeks ago over nothing? Of course stuff's moving behind the scenes. And if you were to take, let's just say, if you were to take FSU and Miami and North Carolina and Clemson and distribute them somewhere, and Notre Dame hops in a boat somewhere, guys, this is a very heartless thought, but what major college brand that you need for a legitimized playoff at that point does not exist under the SEC or the Big Ten umbrella? It's just the way things are moving. I hate it, but it's the way things are moving.
Yep. It all makes sense when you put it in the Dante Peaks storyline there. Nice.
Simple Dante's Peak protocol.
Yeah, I knew it was Pierce Bronson. Does he have the English accent, or does he go American?
Well, here's the problem. When he'll say things like, this mountain's a ticking time bomb, you can hear it bleed through. He tries to sound like he's from Olympia, Washington, but you know, wherever he's from, they're drinking their tea with a pinky and a ring finger out. Like, that's where that voice originated from.
Oh, see, I try to learn in the trailer park. I just go pinky, so I need to go ring finger too? I can't do that. I do the pinky.
That's where Pierce is from. In fairness, neither you nor I even smell like Pierce Brosnan. Okay, that guy smells on a totally different level. So speaking and decor and etiquette, I wouldn't even try to tote that guy's job.
Yeah, how did you think he fit in the Bond catalog with all of those other actors? Because I grew up, like, Sean Connery's kind of the go-to. I grew up a Roger Moore guy. That was kind of my era. But I think Daniel Craig has been the best Bond. I thought Pierce was okay. Timothy Dalton was terrible.
All right. So I've got some chewed gum here. I'm going to put it back in my mouth because I'm going to get a little cotton mouth when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. Pull it back out. I've never seen any of the James Bond movies, so I have no idea.
Oh, my gosh. This was done away a couple years ago.
Someone gasped from the other room in my apartment. That's how tough it is. I've never seen them. I've never seen any of the movies.
They're worth the watch. And especially the new ones with Daniel Craig are outstanding.
I've only seen two.
Can I just ask both of you? So I'm this way in Star Wars as well. So someone who is foreign to these movie franchises, It makes total sense to Star Wars fans or James Bond fans. Like, you get it. It's like the Lord of the Rings Hobbit stuff. You see it in your head chronologically. I would have no idea what movie to even watch first.
Well, don't do what I did, because I told them I was going to, in the pandemic, I was going to go back from whatever the first one was, and I was going to go in order and watch every Bond movie during the pandemic, and I made it through 2.
Yeah, you don't have to do it like that. There's only, and I'm not the deepest on the James Bond catalog. I've seen almost every one of them, but there's only like 2 or 3 that actually, where they kind of coincide, so you can kind of jump in wherever you want.
Oh, it's like Parks and Rec, basically. You can just standalone episodes, watch whatever you want.
I think you will be fine doing that, James. I'm with you on Star Wars. I only saw I call them the original 3. I think our backroom guys are going to laugh. They're prequels or sequels or I don't know, but I have no idea on the other ones.
Have you ever noticed that? Anytime I've ever started to broach the Star Wars topic, inevitably, everyone in the production room has seen every one of them. It doesn't matter where I've worked. Everyone in the production room, you might as well take the IFB out, because they are going to trash you. And their voice can't be heard. So it's just them private lying to you, insulting everything about your existence because you haven't seen the Star Wars movies.
Yeah. I am, at this point, keep giving Rockstar the signal not to turn John Lunsford, the guy who handles all of our dynamic and numbers up here. He's a beautiful mind, but he's all Star Wars. And he is trying to jump on. They're restraining him right now like it's WrestleMania in the back.
Apologies to all.
Josh Pate, Late Kick Josh. Go like and subscribe and follow him throughout the time between the last game and the next game. He'll keep you entertained the rest of the season. Josh, thank you for your time, man. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, Josh Pate there, Late Kick Josh. You see him on a variety of different platforms out there. Like and subscribe. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. And being brought to you today as part of our best and worst of the weekend by our friends at Hemp Hill Services.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Make sure that HVAC unit ready to keep up with the changing weather. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. Trust the name. Birmingham has trust since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. 205-229-2090.
We still got more to talk about with Kalen DeBoer's first practice at Alabama. We've got a former Florida Gator, now a Georgia Bulldog, throwing his former coaching staff and team under the bus. We've got Johnny Manziel sticking his flag in the ground, something we talked about during last summer. And he's doing that. All that still to come as football is full bore. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL Combine when we come back. But one other note right here in the opening segment was LeBron James went 40,000 plus points over the weekend. He's the only guy in that category. And I just wonder if you think, records are made to be broken. But Kevin Durant is the closest guy who's still playing at 28,392 points. LeBron's got over 40,000 points. I don't think KD will play that long. Do you think that record will ever be broken? And if so, is there a guy playing like Luka? Is he Luka's faster to 10,930 in his first 383 games than LeBron was, so he's on a better pace than LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, if Luka plays at this level for another decade, which he easily could, he just turned 25 this past week, then he would be in the conversation, leading the NBA in scoring right now. But here's the difference between LeBron and most guys. Like, I loved LeBron early in his career, then I really didn't care much for him. I still have always respected not only how outstanding his game is, but physically, he takes so much pride in being physically better than anyone else. So I have heard these NBA insiders and people that have really good relationships with LeBron, like he works out in the offseason and during the season harder than anyone. So that body, although it's got a ton of tread on it, he still is in just immaculate shape.
Mind-blowing stat. If you take all of Larry Bird's points, pretty good, all of Magic Johnson's points, pretty good, and combine them, LeBron James has scored more points than Larry Bird and Magic Johnson combined.
It sounds amazing on the surface because those are the guys that kind of reinvented basketball and brought it back to the masses. And still, I don't think there will ever be a better rivalry in sport than what you had with Magic and Bird. But Bird had the bad back, and Magic obviously had, HIV, and both of those guys' careers and games were really limited. And if they would have gotten to play full, healthy careers, I think it would be a lot different.
And they never took nights off back then either.
Well,
they played every game.
You're right, and that is what's really annoying about today's NBA. And that's another thing. You will never get this record broken because of just that.
Yeah, they won't play all the games anymore because they take nights off. All right, when we come back to college football, day one of spring practice in Tuscaloosa. A little something on that coming up on the show, and a lot more that's being brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa.
Yeah, the gift of luxury. You can get it right now for that significant other. Really simple. A beautiful location located at the Summit Shopping Centers. You can stop by there, talk to Stuart and his fine folks up there, or you can order gift cards 24/7 online for that special person, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatments, skincare, waxing, nail services. Again, for more information, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or The Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
Back with you on the next round. It's hard to believe Alabama's about to start spring practice without Nick Saban out there.
Who is this Pokemon guy that they've got me?
Yeah, can we? I
don't even know what that is.
Can we get the picture back up? I thought somebody just animated you really quick. Who is that? Is that Ash?
Well, I'm impressed, Jim.
Yeah, my son.
Wait! You knew that?
My son has.
That's the upset of the day.
1,000 Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards. And thousands of them. And I could name one person, and it was Ash, and I didn't know if that was him or not.
That is him?
Just own it, man. I mean, if you know all these guys.
I don't.
Hey, it's fine to know Pokemon. We all know it back here. like you said, all us nerds, but in the back room back here.
Okay, so what is Ash's role, Lunsford?
Ash is like the main character. He's like the main trainer, I guess, for Pokemon. That it's all about him trying to catch all the Pokemon and work his way up.
So is the Pokemon is the animal behind him, right?
Pikachu is the certain Pokemon behind him, and you.
Okay, but they all look the same, right?
They don't all look the same. There's hundreds of Pokemon. They're all different.
Is it like a hybrid dog? Is it aggressive?
I mean, you fight with them. That's like the point of the game. You catch them and then like fight other people. And like I would put my Pokemon out there, and you put your Pokemon, and they'd fight each other.
Fascinating. I need to.
It's animated.
You're the one that dressed like Ash. I mean, it's good cosplay.
It's animated cockfighting, is what it is.
Sure.
You got me. You got me. What?
Yeah. That's what I'm best at.
Was Pikachu his first Pokemon? That was his
I think
first
so.
one.
Yeah,
I think so. That's how they got going. So LT basically it works up here too. He's our trainer. He gets us all ready for the fight every day.
Right.
So it works out good.
And these Pokemon cards are worth a lot of money, right?
If they're in mint condition now, I probably could start selling off the thousands.
If you ever want to bring them up here, I'll price them for you.
We need to figure this out as a collective team, like what is going to be worth a bunch of money that we can buy, box it up, leave it in mint condition, because my buddy Heath sent me the 39 most sought after toys. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like one of the top ones is the original Luke Skywalker still in the package. And you can get between $5,000 and $10,000. And I had that when I was a kid.
It's the technicalities. Like he has like a blue lightsaber instead of a green one or something like that. Where there's like something. There's like the Boba Fett that had like a shooting missile. That thing is like super.
Yeah, no, the Boba Fett and the Skywalker were the top. Yeah. But you just if you've got them in package now, I don't know any kid back in the 70s that would have bought one of those and said, you know what, let's.
Oh, their
let's
parents would buy them. And they're like, you're not going to play with this. It's going in the attic.
Yeah, that's the hard part is buying something but never opening it. I mean, you have to have a plan if you're going to do that, and the kids can never see it.
But like, if you could go back in time, just imagine this, because I'll never forget going to, and I don't know if at that point if it was just the athlete's foot or 2 feet ahead, but I remember seeing the first original Jordans at Brookwood Mall, and they were $65. And I think I've told this story before. $65 for the pair. I loved them, and I was like, $65 then was about like $600. It felt like there was no chance I would ever get those Jordans. But if you went back and you bought 10 to 20 pairs originally boxed up and just put them up, you probably could retire on that.
Wow. That's some big money there. Hey, pricing is really low at JohnsonRVCenter.com. JohnsonRVCenter.com. 2 locations there in Decatur and Coleman, but they're extending their show pricing through March the 9th. So still a few more days to get the RV show pricing extended right now at both locations, Decatur and Coleman location. Lifetime warranties there. Family-owned business that's been together now over 10 years. They're celebrating their 10th anniversary right now. They've got a fully featured fifth wheel that I have my eye on right now. If the lottery gods threw the right combination of numbers at me right now, one of the first things I would do would be go right up there, use the RV show pricing at JohnsonRVCenter.com, and roll out of there with a fifth wheel and go see America. You can do it too. Check them out online, JohnsonRVCenter.com. Lifetime warranty is, and I always tell you up here, and Brown does too, both at the Coleman and Decatur locations, they've got competitive financing and the unbelievable discount for all U.S. military men and women. It's all right there. JohnsonRVCenter.com, JohnsonRVCenter.com. Alabama's on the practice field this afternoon just after 3 o'clock. It's the first time in over 17 years that Nick Saban is not leading the practice. One of the things that I think every Alabama fan is looking forward to is seeing what this coaching staff can do with Jalen Milroe. Here is LT talking with OC Nick Sheridan last week when we were over in Tuscaloosa.
Your fingerprints have been on a couple of recent quarterbacks, and Joshua Dobbs, back to your days in Knoxville, a guy that started a handful of games this year for Minnesota. Michael Penix Jr. just played for a national championship with you guys, a guy that should start some games coming up. When you look at Jalen Milroe, do you see that upside that you see with Dobbs and you see with Penix Jr.?
No, absolutely. I think he's an extremely talented and hardworking person. You know, I think everybody knows about the explosiveness as a runner, but I also think he's extremely explosive as a passer too. You know, he's got a very strong arm, and you know he's playing the first time last year with the large majority of the snaps. Right? He's still, you know, I know people don't like to use the word develop anymore, but you know that's part of a journey of a quarterback is the experiences that you go through help you as you move forward in your career. And so he's an extremely talented player. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And he's got a great attitude and a work ethic that's really unmatched. So I've really enjoyed that time that I've spent with him, as I have with the other quarterbacks in the room. It's just a really quality room with great people. I think that's what always lends itself to really good play. Is it starts with who the person is, and it's a room full of really great kids that come from great families that are very talented.
Alabama OC Nick Sheridan there on the quarterback room. And that's a great point. Now, I don't think he had his best game against Michigan after that big break. But as the season went on, through the win over Georgia in the SEC championship game, I felt like Jalen Milroe continued to grow. And that's a great point. He doesn't have a lot of seat time. This could be a breakout year for Milroe.
Oh, it could be, absolutely. But I would ask you this, that quarterback room as a whole, how many of those guys are bolting after spring practice?
I would put the over-under at 1.5, and I would take the over at 2.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. You know, Lonergan was that guy everybody talked about coming out of camp last year. Never saw him. But Austin Mack is that guy that this staff is really comfortable with. Now, and I think it was Kalen DeBoer, and either you or Brown asked him the question, you know, is it a clean slate, or is there something about Jalen Milroe being the incumbent? And he said there is something to that.
Yep.
So I would think that Milroe is going to be your guy, and especially with the upside that he's got.
Even at the basketball game the other night, Milroe was there. He was part of game day. He's sort of taking on the face of the team, and he was sitting next to Kalen DeBoer during the game, and you could see them talking during timeouts, and you just assumed that they were sitting there talking about games and attitudes and practice starting today.
You know, watching Michael Penix Jr., who I asked about, you know, at Indiana, really during that COVID year, he was kind of a grinder, a competitor. He gets hurt, kind of disappears. But he was an elite quarterback. And, like, I didn't see that when I watched him in Indiana. I thought he was good. I never thought he could be as good as he was these past couple of years. But I think that shows you how good Kalen DeBoer is with quarterbacks.
One more thing on Alabama's practice, after I tell you about our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, and everybody's congratulating Greg and Andrea.
They have another kid?
From Pell City. I don't think they had another kid, but I think either it was a wedding or a grandbaby that came in. I can always guess grandbaby, but I don't know exactly why Laura and them are congratulating Greg from Pell City.
Well, it's either anniversary or grandkid.
Yeah. Miss Andrea from Pell City and I are celebrating 35 years today. 35 years, 10 kids. You guys do the math. Thank God I'm married up, boys. She deserves a shout out. Happy anniversary, Miss Andrea, and Storm Restoration Roofing, 35 years. She owns the company, and Greg does some of the heavy lifting there at Storm Restoration Roofing. 205-542-3531 for that free no-cost roof inspection. You can also look him up, Greg from Pell City on Facebook, and stop by there, Greg from Pell City on Facebook, and wish him a happy anniversary, too. He'll give you that free no-cost roof inspection, locally owned. He and his wife run the company, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Best warranties in the business. Check them out. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. As you can see right there, just a great family man, and big family. And a lot of love in that house, and he'll pass that along to you. 205-542-3531 and Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, back to this coaching staff, and I had this conversation over the weekend, and I had another guy who was like...
Well, this is where I was going. I wanted to ask you about the coaching staff.
Well, you know, so we already had Clay on the show bet me nice amount of money that DeBoer would not be there after 5 years. I had another guy reach out to me this week, a big Tennessee fan, wanted to bet me the same thing, and I was talking to somebody else over the weekend, and they're like, I believe if he can make it 2 years... that he's going to have success at Alabama. And I'm like, oh my God, I mean, like, what are we just expecting the bottom to fall out? I know that schedule's brutal. Like 8-4 bottom falls out. But like, I'm not going to be shocked if they're 9-3 next year with that schedule.
Yeah, but 8-4 is realistic. I mean, that can happen with that schedule. I mean, road games at Wisconsin, road games at LSU, home game with Georgia.
If you lose Wisconsin, you got problems. I mean, and they're going to be improved, but that's still a problem.
Road game at Oklahoma. I mean, there's enough there that you could be 8-4.
Yeah, and people
still be a pretty darn good team.
But do you think 8-4 puts him on a hot seat going into year 2?
Well, I think it has. And my question was going to be, after we spent time with them, just a unbelievably nice, very talented, but a very nice personality coaching staff. So different than what we've seen over there for 17 years. Not that Nick Saban is not a nice person, but when he's at work, he is a little bit more intense than, say,
you think
we got from Kalen DeBoer and his staff over there. And I think that can work with the modern day athlete, right? Where there's freedom of movement and NIL money and all that. I think you don't have to be a hard ass all the time. But you just heard Josh Pate last segment said he came from Georgia, and it's the most on-edge program he's ever seen other than Nick Saban's program for 17 years.
Yeah, and that's the way I would want my program. Look, as long as you're winning, it's fine. But the problem is going to be if they don't win, it's going to go back to, look how lax this thing is.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing if it works. And look, there's no reason Kalen DeBoer should change what he's done.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah, he's 104-12 as a head coach, so he knows the way he does it is his way. So, look, that might not fit in Tuscaloosa because Rich Rodriguez was, such a successful coach until he got to Michigan.
I just want to, and we'll hear from some of the players immediately, not today. Kalen will talk after practice, but throughout the week, we'll start hearing from the players, and then we will talk to them off the air, hopefully on the air with some. I want to hear because my fear is these guys who have been there have been under the teacher, and now it's almost like substitute teacher time is here because it's not as hard-nosed. At least publicly, it hasn't seemed as hard-nosed. I can't wait to hear behind the scenes how hard-nosed this coaching staff is and how it's playing in practices and stuff.
Yeah, look, I think the players are going to love these guys. That's what you heard at Washington. And look, as long as you're having success, everything's going to be perfect. But it's going to come down to what happens this September.
Top of the hour, we'll continue our college football and NFL conversation. A lot of stuff from the combines, but a great weekend for our buddy Terrion Arnold up in Indianapolis. We'll talk about that show being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Promo code next round right there. You sign up, you get a bonus, you win with it once, it's yours forever. Go check it out, mybookie.ag. There may be a time at some point that I start throwing out, some NASCAR picks. I threw a little change on Kyle Larson, who was the betting favorite yesterday, but he's just so good at Las Vegas. He won stage 1, he won stage 2, he won the race. I don't know. I never saw him when he wasn't in the lead. Easy winner yesterday at mybookie.ag. You can have that kind of stuff. Basketball, NBA, and college both happening tonight. Baseball preseason games. It's all at mybookie.ag. Promo code next round. Sign-on bonus available and a lot of other great things for you. Go check it out. mybookie.ag.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America and that it affects men and women equally? If you're older than 45, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, treatable, and beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, please visit us. Go to rumpshakerinc.org. Also, 6th annual Rump Shaker 5K coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. You can register online, rumpshakerinc.org. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
You got to look your best to play your best, and our friends at Bandwagon can help your team find the perfect uniforms for that upcoming season. Bandwagon is with you every step of the way, from developing your team logo design to choosing from their multitude of samples. You name the sport, they can make it happen. To get your uniform journey started, you can shoot them a message on any social media platform or check out their website, bandwagonsports.com. That's bandwagonsports.com. Next round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Before we get to the headlines, I just want to say something. And Lee sends this to Greg Byrne, the athletic director at Alabama. And Little T had a little inside information and experience with what happened over at Coleman Coliseum Saturday night. But Lee writes in, I want to brag on your event staff. And he writes this to Alabama AD Greg Byrne. I want to brag on your event staff, first responders, and others there at Coleman Coliseum. My best friend's dad had a heart attack at Coleman Saturday night before the tip. And one of your ushers jumped right in and saved his life. Hashtag thanks.
Wow.
And, Taylor knew some people that were involved in the life-saving treatment that went on there as well. And,
you're surprised this kind of stuff doesn't happen more. We worked with a guy at Cumulus years ago where, he was at a game and his brother was with him and his brother had a heart attack and actually died at the game.
Yeah.
You're just surprised when you have that amount of people.
And I don't know all the details, but, life-saving CPR was given, and hopefully there was a defib machine close by, and then all the first responders in the stadium there. Always a scary scene. Luckily, that one turned out on a positive way. It did not on the court for Alabama. We'll talk more about that with headlines and such coming up. That's brought to you today by our friends at Bandwagon. I went to see my nephew Carson play soccer on a Friday night after the show. He plays with Mountain Brook. And they were playing Briarwood in a great contest. And we were there a little early. I was sharing with all the Mountain Brook parents about our friends at Bandwagon. They have great team gear at all their locations right there in the area, Caba Heights and, down in Edgewood and out in Trustful. Just great locations. And right now, baseball and softball seasons are cranking up, and they want to help your kids have their best season ever. From top-of-the-line bats and gloves to custom uniforms, Bandwagon has everything your family needs to start the season off strong. Whether it's your family's first year at the ballpark or you're a seasoned pro, there's never a bad time to jump on the bandwagon. Bandwagon Sports, all I can tell you is it's like having the local neighborhood sports department right back in your neighborhood. That's what Bandwagon is. And they were telling me that some sports department, I won't use the name, had closed in their neighborhood in Mountain Brook, and they were wondering where they needed to get their sports gear now, and I was able to tell 15 or 20 families, Bandwagon Sports, the place to go. Okay, Alabama loses to Tennessee in what was the battle for the SEC lead and likely inside track to winning the conference championship. Here's Rick Barnes after Tennessee gets the road win in Tuscaloosa.
Rick, you guys are alone in first, week left. How important is just that achievement, just the SEC regular season, especially in this year in the SEC?
Well, I've said many times that I think this league is the best it's ever been since the 9 years that I've been in it, and I don't know if anybody's had a tougher closing schedule than we've had. Where it is what it is. I mean, it's the way it worked out, and but again, we got another week to go, and against two ranked teams, and I think every team we've closed with has been ranked. Every team we play from here on out is going to be an NCAA team and a team that can play deep into March. but we've just tried to keep our focus on what's at hand, not feel too good about anything, but we're not done. And we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, they got 2 quad 1 games on the road at number 43 in the Ken Palm, South Carolina, and then at home to number 18 Kentucky to end out the season there. Auburn gets the win, big one over Mississippi State. Auburn with 2 easy games this week, Missouri and Georgia. So right now, if you said 4 double byes in the SEC, there are 6 teams competing for the 4 double byes, which means you don't play until Friday of the NCAA tournament. You have the standings right now, 3-loss for Tennessee, 2 4-loss teams in South Carolina and Alabama, 2 5-loss teams in Kentucky and Auburn, and then 6-loss Florida.
Yeah, I think for sure you've got Tennessee and Alabama are going to be those double byes.
So you think Alabama can hold on?
I think Alabama will. Yeah, I mean, even if they lose, if they split, what are we looking like if they split these 2 games?
If they split and Kentucky wins out and Auburn does what they're supposed to do against Missouri and Georgia, you would have 3 teams with 5 losses, probably another one with South Carolina. You could have a tiebreaker scenario, and it gets really complicated at that point.
I mean, the team I wouldn't want to play right now is Kentucky.
Florida's playing pretty good too.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get with Kentucky. I do think South Carolina is going to lose to Tennessee, so that drops them to 5 losses. I guess it'll be Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky, and Auburn.
Yeah.
Of course, the Florida game with Alabama becomes big, although they've got a 2-game lead on Florida right now.
Yeah. Florida is the last team that possibly could play their way in. They need a couple of losses to help them out. The other big story over the weekend before we get back to college football was Caitlin Clark. She finally did what was inevitable after announcing, though, that her time was coming. She's only got 9 games maximum left now. But she passed Pistol Pete Maravich of LSU, a record that stood for 54 years as the all-time scorer in college basketball, men or women. So Caitlin Clark is there. And I said this last week, you guys agreed, we can celebrate Caitlin Clark for what she's done in women's basketball and still celebrate that record by Pete Maravich for 54 years that has stood the test of time there, because he did it in 3 years and with no three-point line. But when we say it, you guys probably think, well, we're just a bunch of white men in the South that don't care enough about women's athletics or what.
Misogynistic.
Yeah.
That's never been you. You've always been big women's sports.
Yeah, I do. I give it respect. But even I said that it's
different.
These are different. It's 2 different sports. It's women's basketball and it's men's basketball. Why do we try to blend them together? Well, don't listen to me. Listen to one of the best coaches in college basketball history, Kim Mulkey, down at LSU. Now, that's Pistol Pete's school, so she's playing a little bit to the fandom down there. But I truly believe this is one of the voices of college basketball, and she believes what she's talking about here.
Pete Maravich could do things with a basketball that I had never seen done in my life. Who can go behind your back, between your legs, and he just could see things. He was ahead of his time. The movie, y'all see his movie, back in the day? That thing a lot of it was filmed in Hammond and Ponchatoula. So I was just glued to all the videos and the things that he did. I don't look at comparing apples to oranges. What Clark has done is unbelievable, and her name will be right up there at the top. But he played over here with no three-point shot, no three-point line, 3 years. And I don't think we need to make too much of, she passed him because he's a man. Or, she's who she is. And that's awesome. And Lord knows when I played against her, I was like, are you kidding me? What a generational talent. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it like this, 2 separate things right there.
Yeah, Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought that pretty much is what we said.
I agree. Let's just say that there is an equivalent. Annika Sorenstam was probably that female golfer for a minute, but if you had somebody on the women's tour that actually put up like Tiger numbers and was just winning nonstop, Like
Annika did that. I mean, it got boring sometimes. She was going to win. If you turned on a big LPGA event, you almost could pencil her in as winning.
And I know she played in the one men's event or maybe even multiple men's events, and that was a big deal made out of that. But to me, it would be like comparing somebody to Tiger. You just can't do it.
Well, Serena Williams, I think, is a great example. By far the most dominant women's tennis player of all time. By far.
Yeah, but by far the most dominant tennis player of all time.
But her game would not translate. It's a different sport. Women's tennis, men's tennis, different sport. Wouldn't translate. She couldn't have won a major event on the men's side.
Right. I mean, look, it's a different size basketball, women's tees, men's tees. I mean, there's a lot of that. But with all that said, Caitlin Clark is the best women's player. Not that I've watched a ton of women's basketball, but she's the best I've ever seen.
Best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
I don't think Pete Maravich was the best I've ever seen. He was maybe one of the most unique you've ever seen.
Yeah,
but I saw better players.
If Brown was here and not on vacation this week, he would say daddy ball because Pete played for his dad.
Oh, I don't know if he would. Would he say daddy ball? I don't think Pete really. I think there's no asterisk when it came to Pete.
Yeah, he did play for his dad though. And he shot a lot, but only played 3 years. But there, congratulations to Caitlin Clark, an amazing career, and she's not going to. She could play another year. She's not going to do that. So they've got a maximum 9 games left of Caitlin Clark. By the way, she's so influential. WNBA season ticket sales have spiked around the league. Just next year when she comes, if they land on their team, they're going to be excited, but also just when she visits town, it'll be a tough ticket.
I think
in
less
the WNBA.
You and I both agree. I think she's making a mistake leaving money on the table, not coming back to Iowa City for one more year. But I think she's got less pressure going to the WNBA.
I think she does too.
Yeah.
I think she does too. Nike with a great commercial congratulating her. If you haven't seen that, look that up on YouTube after you're done watching us today. Remember, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Back to college football. I want to throw a couple of things at LT here, just see if he's up to date on what was a crazy carousel of the offseason that included, he knows Kalen DeBoer is the new coach and Nick Saban is retired. But I'll ask him a couple of other things as camps open up. But first, let me tell you about our friends at Manscaped. It's the St. Patrick's Day Shamrock Shaver at Manscaped. This year, don't just chase rainbows. Make your own pot of gold and groom your little leprechaun with the leader of the below-the-kilt care from Manscaped. Say goodbye to all that stuff down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 and let your confidence shine bright as we hit spring and start getting outside. Embrace the luck of the Irish and join the 10 million men worldwide who have trusted our friends at Manscaped. Head over to manscaped.com, and use the promo code TNR for 20% off and free shipping. Again, manscaped.com. Make sure you use that promo code TNR for 20% off and free shipping. They've got wonderful blades as well for the face. Brown uses it to keep his well groomed. You can buzz your head like I have to do. I use the Manscaped product. I used to get nicks and cuts all the time. Not anymore with our friends at Manscaped. Chest hair, arm hair, and anything below the equator, they'll take care of you right there. Manscaped.com, promo code TNR for 20% off and free shipping. All right. Kalen DeBoer's in Tuscaloosa. Nick Saban's job next year is what?
Nick Saban's job next year is ESPN Game Day.
ESPN College Game Day. That is good. Texas had a big weekend at the Combine. A lot of their receivers, including Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell, had big days. Who do you think the number one receiver at Texas is going to be, according to reports?
The number one receiver at Texas should be Isaiah Bond.
Isaiah Bond, who used to be at Alabama. He is there. So is Amari Niblack, who's there. Who's the head coach at Mississippi State?
That would be Jeff Lebby.
Jeff Lebby. Who does he think his quarterback's going to be?
Jeff Lebby believes his quarterback.
Carousel is so crazy, man.
Yeah, his quarterback is going to be. I know Will Rogers went to Washington.
And then went to the portal and then stayed at Washington.
Yeah.
Used to be at Baylor.
Blake Shapen?
Blake Shapen is going to be there. Who is installing his offense this week at Arkansas?
That would be Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino is at Arkansas. Who's on the hot seat in the SEC, the biggest hot seat in the SEC?
That would be Billy Napier in Gainesville.
Billy Napier in Gainesville. So much so, Rockstar, give me cut 7. Trevor Etienne was the running back at Florida. Then he was on a podcast, Real Talk podcast right here, and he has this to say about his decision.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I think those two guys are players.
Yeah, there's coolers. You've got the kegerator back there. You've got a really sweet 80s mullet.
Real Talk podcast covering Georgia football. Trevor Etienne sits down talking about his decision to join Georgia and leave Florida behind.
A lot of questions was unanswered. There was a lot of unknown going on. And I feel like I can stay here and do what I've been doing for another year or two, or, bet on myself and take a chance somewhere else. So, pretty much to sum it up, it was like I could either be running back 2 on a losing team or go somewhere where, like, I wanted to play in December, too. That also played a big part in me transferring. So that I could be running back 2 on a losing team or go somewhere and, possibly be running back 1 and win a natty.
So running back 2 on a losing team, I want to play in December, or I could go somewhere, play in December, and possibly win a natty.
Look, these coaches, when you get a better opportunity, they take it, so the players might as well take it. It is weird. There was a time where when you signed with Florida or you signed with Georgia, the other was so hated, there's no chance you would flip. Trevor Etienne is a talented guy, which, he'll have a bigger stage when it comes to Georgia. Who knows, though? Look, he could have played in December at Florida. They could have gotten one of these bowl games at 7-5, right? 6-6.
Yeah, I could have gotten into a December bowl game. I think he meant I want to play in December and play for championships, which is, by the way, where the SEC championship is and the first round of the college football playoffs. Georgia should be there. We'll see how big of a contributor Trevor Etienne is.
I was going to say, if he stays healthy, there is no chance he's not playing in December. In what world would Georgia, what would they have to do to miss his college football playoff?
It would take 3 losses just to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't think they have the schedule for that. All right, one more. Where's Raheem Sanders now? Rocket Sanders.
Rocket Sanders
stayed in the SEC.
Yeah. I think he might be at Mississippi State.
South Carolina.
Yep.
Okay. Rocket Sanders. Just a little teaser there to get you ready as all the SEC camps continued to churn, and some of them cranking up, including Alabama today. That'll be just after 3 o'clock today. We'll talk to Alex Scarborough. Used to be with ESPN. He is now the Bama senior writer for Bama 24/7. So Alex, who knows that program so well, was a beat writer in Tuscaloosa, was at ESPN.com. Now he's back on the Alabama beat, and he's looking forward to the season. He'll join us coming up at 10:45 to talk about some of the things he's looking at as Alabama opens up camp today in Tuscaloosa. We'll talk about the Combine in the next segment. The show is being brought to you by the Alabama Betting Alliance. LT's about to tell us about that, but basically this is just a big time in our state. If you want the right to vote, and who cares, however you vote. That's right, but give the people a chance to take it out of the politicians' hand. Give the people a chance to decide what they want to do with sports gambling in the state of Alabama. It's the way our forefathers wanted it to be. They wanted the people to decide, and this is the chance for that to happen.
Yeah, Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on lottery, casino, sports betting. They need to hear from you. 334-261-0800. 334-261-0800. Did you realize that Alabama, one of only 12 states where you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them to vote yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, go to sportsbettingalliance.org. Paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance, sportsbettingalliance.org.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Legacy Credit Union has the ultimate game changer for your finances. With Engaged Checking, you can earn 3% APY on balances up to $15,000. You heard correctly, 3% APY. But it's not just about scoring with high yields. With Engaged Checking, you can get paid up to 2 days early. That means your paycheck, Social Security, tax refund, you name it, you get it early. So stop sitting on the sidelines and get in the game with Engaged Checking. Sign up today at LegacyCreditUnion.com or visit any 9 Greater Birmingham area branches. APY is annual percentage yield. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Let me introduce you to the new line of Red Wing athletic work shoes. This great new line is perfect for the industrial athlete, the guy who is working on concrete or running through the warehouse all day long. Red Wing Athletics use the same technology found in a running shoe, with soft mesh uppers, a lightweight aluminum toe for protection, and non-slip soles. This shoe is a winner. This comfortable new line of safety shoes are perfect for warehousing and light manufacturing. Plus, the colors look great. Stop by your local Red Wing shoe store, have your feet measured, and test drive a new pair of Red Wing athletic work shoes. Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
We roll on. Landmine Believer says, a couple of women's things here, women's sports. So we have mentioned Caitlin Clark, but Christy Curry and Alabama's women's team, first 23-win season since 1992. They're the 4th seed in the tournament that starts Wednesday in Greenville. Sarah Ashley, Jay's daughter, another big game, Jay Barker and Sarah Ashley Barker. Unbelievable game. She's one of their top scorers. 4th seed for the women's team. Christy Curry's got that women's team playing well over there. Kyle Larson wins in Las Vegas. Alabama softball won a couple over Arizona. Auburn softball won a couple this weekend. Basketball happening tonight, including the Clippers playing the Bucks and OKC playing the Lakers, both on NBA TV. Lanceslock.com. Lanceslock.com if you want to see a free play on that. And we'll be telling you more about things going on with Lanceslock.com on our social media platform right after the show.
10-1 our last 11 NBA plays.
10-1 on the last 11 NBA plays. So an opportunity.
2 plays tonight, but none in the NBA.
2 tonight, but none in the NBA. College basketball?
Yeah, 2 college basketball plays, and
any of them Big 12?
We'll be we will be sending out a free play in the Big 12 here in a little bit.
All right, a couple of interesting Big 12 games happening tonight. Lance, tell us about Odie's, and we'll do a little combine talk before we get back to Alabama football in the next segment.
Odie's Tavern, great place to go for lunch or dinner. Rodney Davis has been doing incredible food for more than 3 decades now. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches like that Diablo sandwich. Chili this time of year, which is perfect. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. 2 locations, the original in Crestline. Now the location in Homewood right there on the corner of Broadway and Oxmoor. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff. It's a Birmingham institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
Chris is right. Louisiana beat Oklahoma softball. They had won 71 straight games. And they got a new stadium there on campus. And
believe it or not, 4 downs.
Oh, that's coming up in 4 downs. Oh, I did not know. LT's got that coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. All right, the NFL Combine. Xavier Worthy, if he had done what he did this weekend back in 2017, Adidas would have given him a private island or $1 million. There was a time that Adidas offered up a private island. They were going to buy an island for the guy or give them $1 million if you didn't want a private island if you broke the 40 record in Adidas shoes.
What would you rather have?
I would have taken the $1 million.
See, I would bet on myself. If you ultimately have enough money, if you become a top-tier receiver like a Tyreek Hill, then you're going to have millions and millions of dollars, and therefore then you can develop that one island. So if you don't think you're going to be big in the NFL, I would go with $1 million. If not, I would have gone with the island.
I would tell you the island to me.
But I got to see the specs on the island. I know
that's it. It was the island that they would bought of their choosing, it said, and for $1 million equivalent, I would say that's basically going to be a souped-up sandbar with flooding issues.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you can buy a really good lot at Lake Martin for $1 million right now.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying I think I would take the land.
You would have taken the island.
Yeah, but if you're so the guy to do it was John Ross. And by the way, before we start saying Xavier Worthy's going to be the next Tyreek Hill, look at John Ross at Washington. Look at Xavier Worthy at Texas.
Yeah, but John Ross didn't set that record with the expectation. I mean, Worthy was already going to be like number 8 to 12 receiver off the board. He was already going to be drafted early, like a third-round guy, second-round guy, right?
Yeah, but I would say these are equivalent guys.
You think Ross and Worthy are equivalent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the difference is John Ross was a first-team All-American.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy ain't a first-team All-American.
Yeah, I thought Worthy expectations were higher. You remember Ross better than I did. I didn't. Ross, by the way, just retired.
Well, I mean, I think Ross had didn't even reach 1,000 yards. I mean, collectively in the NFL, didn't reach double-digit touchdowns. So, very underwhelming career for John Ross.
4.2140, breaking the 4.22 that has stood for a long time for Ross. The problem with Worthy, 5'11", 165, and that is teeny tiny unless you run routes like Devontae Smith does with the Eagles. 5'11", 165 is not big.
No, not big. John Ross wasn't a big kid either. But, man, that is blazing speed. I mean, blazing speed. So he was one of the big winners, and for whatever reason, that 40 time is still that's the bar of the entire combines. I think there's more important stuff. Like I saw an article on Puka Nacua, who went to the Rams with the 5th overall pick. That was a guy that ran like the 31st fastest 40 for receivers, but he ran the number 1 gauntlet drill.
Okay. Did you see Kirk Herbstreit, what he said about Ladd McConkey?
I love Ladd McConkey.
He said,
I think he's going to be outstanding.
He said Ladd McConkey is this year's Puka.
Okay, well, I think Ladd McConkey will not fall out of the second round.
Because of Puka?
No, I don't think so. You look at Ladd, his top end speed, I think he ran a 4.41, did he not?
Yeah, but I'm just saying that they've seen what Puka was able to do. So someone else is going to try to duplicate what you guys did with the Rams,
yeah, but I just think completely different guys. Puka's more the physical guy, doesn't have that top end speed. Ladd McConkey, you go back to the last national championship they won. That guy was stretching the field left and right, and doing it with not great quarterback play.
I think the biggest thing that came out of the combine to me was away from the workouts. Diana Rossini, who works with The Athletic now, and covers a lot of the NFL in Indianapolis. She says general managers she talked to said the Bears are moving on from Justin Fields, and they may want to do it before March 13th's free agency starts. So if you're up with a calendar, that's in the next 10 days.
I think they have to. I think it's too big of a risk. If Caleb Williams is what 90% of the NFL thinks he's going to be, and you look at it, the Bears – name me the last franchise quarterback the Bears had. Now, again, this is far from a given that Caleb Williams is going to be that guy. I think he's going to be really good. I think a lot of people on our chat probably disagree for whatever reason. There's a lot of people that don't like Caleb Williams.
Would you go Jay Cutler? Was he a franchise guy? Got him to a Super Bowl. No, Rex Grossman got him to a Super Bowl, but he wasn't a franchise guy.
Nope.
Was Jim McMahon even a franchise guy?
Nope.
So they don't have one.
Sid Luckman is going to be your guy.
Yeah.
That was pre-Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to maybe be the biggest sports figure since Michael Jordan in the Chicago area. I just don't think Chicago takes a risk on letting him go and becoming a franchise quarterback that wins multiple Super Bowls.
But if you've got Justin Fields and you think you can do something with him, having the 1st and 9th overall pick where you could surround him with some talent, but they will likely use the 1st on Caleb Williams now. They still got the 9th pick, whatever you get for Justin Fields. Diana says all the general managers said this, though. When they know you want to throw something away, people don't pay as much for it.
Yeah, and that is a problem for Chicago. I mean, this might be a second or a third round or multiple third rounds. I mean, I don't know exactly what Justin Fields, what you're going to be able to get for him. You would have gotten a lot more if they believed they really wanted this kid. And I like Fields. I think Fields is going to be a starting quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a franchise-like quarterback, but I think he's going to be a good, solid starting quarterback for years in the NFL.
Las Vegas, Denver, Pittsburgh, and for those of you that criticize me on my Kenny Pickett take, it looks like Pittsburgh would be in on a Justin Fields trade possibly. And the Atlanta Falcons are the 4 teams most mentioned interested in Justin Fields.
Yeah, Forster's back there shaking his head. I think Fields would be great in Atlanta. There was a report that Arthur Smith and Kenny Pickett got together in South Florida this past week and had really, really good meetings. I would give Kenny Pickett an opportunity to work with Arthur Smith. Matt Canada really, really hurt the production there.
So, and Arthur Smith's now the OC at Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Okay, just connecting the dots there. Another name that's possibly being mentioned with the Atlanta Falcons, though he has indicated he'd like the return to Minnesota, but Kirk Cousins, as soon as the free agency starts on March 13th, a lot of people believe Kirk Cousins is at 35 and coming off an Achilles injury is going to be sought after, and the Vikings may have to pay to keep him.
Yeah, this is what's interesting. I do think he'll go back to Minnesota. But if you're a Falcons fan like Forster, who would you rather have, Fields or Cousins? Because Cousins is better right now.
I would take Kirk Cousins for 3 years.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins, I would say 2 years, but in the next couple of years, Justin Fields could be light years ahead of Kirk Cousins. I think I would rather have Fields.
I'd much rather have Fields
than
Cousins.
Much rather have Fields.
I think Kirk Cousins is a really good quarterback. I don't see Kirk Cousins ever winning a Super Bowl. And I think Fields, with that surrounding talent, who knows?
Yeah, would have a lot of talent around him. And today, Tampa Bay, keeping Mike Evans from hitting free agency, they signed Mike Evans today to a 2-year, $52 million deal. And now you start putting into the possibility of Mike Evans being a Buccaneer for life.
Which is good. I think it's really cool. You never really see that anymore, but well warranted. I mean, we talk about Baker Mayfield and the resurgence he had this past year. A lot of that was Michael Evans based. I mean, that guy has just been at the top of the game. I mean, if you talk about one receiver for the last decade, or if you were like, give me the 3 or 4 best receivers from the last decade in the NFL, he would be one of those guys.
We'll talk Alabama football with Alex Scarborough in the next segment. We spent a lot of time talking basketball. LT's about to tell us about the rump shaker. While he's doing that, Forrester, can you get the bull riding video up and ready to go here? I've got something I want to show you, LT, and I want your reaction to it.
Did you know colon cancer, second leading cause of cancer deaths in America? It affects men and women equally. If you're 45 or older, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, it's treatable, it's beatable. Early detection is the key. RumpShakerInc.org for more information. And don't forget about the 16th annual Rump Shaker 5K. It is coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regions Field. To get registered for that, RumpShakerInc.org. That's RumpShakerInc.org.
And also our friends at the University of Montevallo, Montevallo.edu. Wonderful place for your son or daughter to go to school. If they're a junior in high school or maybe even a senior right now, it's not too late to get more details about this beautiful school that you see on your screen right now. Montevallo, where you can pursue your passion, montevallo.edu. By the way, 23 NCAA Division II fully funded scholarship sports, a wonderful campus life. Just take the tour. Learn more information right now at montevallo.edu, montevallo.edu. All right, we've done a lot of things for charities over our time. We've done a lot of things to pay off stake bets. Barry Odom, head coach UNLV, did something that I turned down doing once back in my local TV days because we had a local radio friend who got injured.
Doc, right?
Doc from Patty and Doc back in the day.
Got his face kicked in.
No, it wasn't Doc. It was
Dollar Bill.
Dollar Bill.
Dollar Bill. Yeah, he got his face kicked in, though, right?
Got his face kicked in. Barry Odom, head coach UNLV in Vegas this week. He's on the bull here.
Nah, he's a tough dude, former linebacker.
But watch that hit. You see the hit the bull throws on him? Well, look how staggered he is as he gets up. That's not acting, folks. Look at this. We'll watch it again on replay. Barry's big adventure, luckily with a helmet and face mask on. But watch the hit he takes as he's falling. That bull, and that's unbelievable force, hits him right in the head there. That's worse than a hit in football, I guarantee you.
Yeah. Without the helmet,
Could be dead.
Yeah, I mean, that's right to the temple.
I would assume when Dollar Bill did it as a charity event.
See, and I've never seen that injury with a professional bull rider. Not that I watch a ton of it.
But I think they go helmet now. Are they in cowboy hats anymore?
I think they should be allowed to do it the way they want to do it, right?
Yeah. But he took it hard to the face there. And that's what first thing I asked him. I said, when they wanted me to do it because PBR was coming to the Legacy Arena and they wanted, the local TV guy to go down there and do a live shot and we'll even let you ride a bull. And my news director, you got to do it. You got to ride the bull.
No, I don't.
And I was like, is it like some old bull that's going to be like, come on out and just trot around? And they were like, no, this bull will be with the professionals later that night.
Yeah, something I probably would have done in my 30s. Not a chance in hell. I don't know if you got enough money to give me for that.
No way.
But typically, if a bull's going to kill you, it gorged you, right? Isn't that what happened to Lane Frost? Horn in the back?
Yeah, but I'm seeing these PBR riders. I think they have to wear helmets. I'm seeing everybody's wearing a helmet. I'm not seeing any cowboy hats.
I think that changed after some death.
Yeah.
The
Riders Union?
That wasn't even a horn. That was just the thrust of the head and the neck.
Oh, I thought it was actually horn hitting helmet, was it not?
No. It was the back of his head and the neck area, just giving a blunt force right to his face there. And as Barry, you saw it there on the screen, tweeted, well, I felt like I dominated that thing right up until they opened the gate. Thank you for a great night. So he was okay. The UNLV head football coach who did a heck of a job there last year.
Yeah, he really did. I'm surprised he's riding a bull, though.
Yeah, that is, especially right around spring practice, could have gone very bad for that program. Former Auburn quarterback Damian Craig joining his former teammate Dale McGee on the Georgia State staff. Damian spent the last 6 years at Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher. He's a really good recruiter that will help in the Atlanta area for Dale McGee and Georgia State. We'll talk Alabama football when we come back. The show being brought to you by Dr. B, the guy who's got LT's hair, ready to be a 5-star recruit.
Again, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. T3hair.net. Call 205-319-0316. Tell Dr. B and his staff the Next Round sent you. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedure. He will use that experience, his advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316 or T3hair.net.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
What are you waiting for? It's non-stop gaming action at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Come play more than 900 of the latest and greatest games around, featuring fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can wager and win on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. There are more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
You got to look your best to play your best, and our friends at Bandwagon can help your team find the perfect uniforms for that upcoming season. Bandwagon is with you every step of the way, from developing your team logo design to choosing from their multitude of samples. You name the sport, they can make it happen. To get your uniform journey started, you can shoot them a message on any social media platform or check out their website, bandwagonsports.com. That's bandwagonsports.com. Next Round listeners, it's time to jump on the bandwagon.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about our friends at Gutter Cap. Gutter Cap's that patented aluminum cover system that fits over most existing gutters to keep out debris and eliminate that gutter cleaning. It's backed with a lifetime warranty, almost 20-year service record right here in Birmingham. Stay off that dangerous ladder forever. 45% off the retail price now if you call guttercapbirmingham.com. Call my good friend Chris Stewart now, 205-823-2212. Cap it, don't snap it. It's Gutter Cap.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of the Next Round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
Back with you on the Next Round. A lot of things going on, including Dune Part 2 debuting this past weekend in theaters. The guys on The Meltdown will be talking about that a little bit later on in their live show coming up at 2 o'clock today on these platforms. 2 o'clock Central. Tim Melton, John Lunsford.
Shocker here. Believe it or not, I think I'm going tonight to see.
You think you're going to see Dune Part 2?
Yeah, I watched Dune. I talked to Lunsford and Melton about it. I saw the original Dune way back in the day, the David Lynch Dune, and I was like, this is one of the most boring movies I've ever seen.
Right.
And watched this new edition of Dune. I guess it's 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was. Great cast. I thought the flow was really good. Cinematography was amazing. And I've heard this one's even better. I don't know if Lunsford can give us a thumbs up on that, but it is hard for the sequel to ever be better than the first movie.
He gives a thumbs up there. By the way, domestically, 81.5 million, 97 more internationally. They only made $40 million on the original Dune, so already a bigger money-making opening weekend. We told you about the Live event going on in Saudi Arabia. Anthony Kim back for the first time in 12 years. If I said finish last or above last, which would you take?
Well, I saw on Friday he was in last, and then I was actually, believe it or not, I went bowling with Jack yesterday, walked in to get a beer in the bar, and they had Live on. And again, that is like one of the aesthetically the most unfriendly event to watch. I don't even know what's going on with it.
Drives me crazy.
It was on the CW. I would say that he stayed in last.
He did. He stayed in last. He was 11 strokes away from moving out of last place. So he was in last by 11 strokes.
Oh, my gosh.
And he ended up finishing dead last, but I'm sure he got paid millions of dollars. Before we bring on Alex Scarborough, Obama 24/7, as a senior writer there, tell us about Redmont Vodka.
Redmont Vodka, locally owned and operated product, available at local bars, restaurants. If you're there, you ask for it by name and they don't have it, tell them to get it. It's gluten-free. It's 8 times distilled, available in 22 states. Ask for it by name. It is Redmont Vodka.
Part of the 24/7 sports family, Alex Scarborough joins us now. He's the senior writer at his new job, the Bama 24/7 folks over there, previously with ESPN. Alex, welcome in, man. You know this program. You've been around it for a long, long time.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's not totally unfamiliar to me. I started out just covering Alabama for ESPN and have been sticking close to the program for the last, 12 years, I think is what it is, broadening out to the SEC. But when you're covering the SEC, you're never far from Alabama. And like everybody else, though, we're in a little bit of a new boat without Nick Saban in charge. It's going to be weird going out to practice and not seeing the straw hat out there.
Alex, one of the big stories over the weekend at the Combines, Terrion Arnold. No surprise there. If you know the guy, we've had him on the show. I know you know him. Just a great personality, and we thought he would slay it, and he did in Indianapolis. But that's, to me, maybe the biggest question mark coming back for this Alabama team is that secondary. 5 key parts are gone. What is expected with this secondary?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. It's going to be the biggest area of concern, I think, moving forward, because it's not just Terrion, it's not just Kool-Aid McKinstry. It's also losing a guy in Trey Amos, who I thought had the ability to not just step in as a starter, but I thought could be a really high-level guy and turn into an all-SEC caliber performer. I thought that much of him, and you lose some depth there as well. Caleb Downs there's a lot of moving parts. And, oh, by the way, you have a new defense that everybody's learning on top of all that with Kane Womack now running the 4-2-5. The good news is you do have Malachi Moore back to sort of settle things down. You've got some pieces there. But there's no doubt to me that they need some guys to develop at that position. If not, we're going to be seeing coming out of the spring who can come in the portal, and maybe there's some depth they can bring in there. Because, again, it's not just those frontline guys, the starters. They were hit really bad in terms of depth. So they're going to have to bring those guys up to speed really quickly.
Alex Scarborough is with us, Bama 24/7 on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline. You write today on your website about the 4-2-5. We had a chance to talk to Kane last week, Kane Womack, the defensive coordinator, and he's sort of having sessions with Nick Saban, sort of teaching Nick Saban this defense. You've talked to players over the years how complicated a Nick Saban, Kirby Smart defense could be. What are you getting a feel about this 4-2-5 from Kane Womack and how that's going to play with this Alabama personnel?
Yeah, I don't think it's uncomplicated, but I don't know if it's as complicated as Nick Saban's defense could be, especially for those guys in the secondary. And that was always sort of a sore spot for Saban and that staff. They didn't like it being portrayed as complicated, but it really was, because it's different, especially in the back end of the defense, than what a lot of teams run in terms of kind of a blend of man and zone, having to hand off your guy if he's running a specific route. It's asking a lot of young players to sort of know the rules of coverage. And there's still going to be some of that with Kane Womack's 4-2-5. That's still going to be there. But I just don't think maybe it won't be as complicated. We'll learn a lot more in the coming weeks about how these guys are adjusting to it. I do like the versatility that a defense like this brings, and especially what you can do up front in terms of creating pressure looks without necessarily blitzing in terms of numbers. He was really good at that at South Alabama and other spots. And if you can sort of do that without giving up numbers on the back end, that's a strong recipe for success. So going to be different to see. We're so used to what a Nick Saban defense looks like, field and boundary corners, all that stuff. It's going to look a little bit different. Time will tell whether it's more complex, and I have a feeling that it might be a little bit of a step back. But again, everybody's starting from scratch.
Yeah, but any defense, I mean, you got to have a good pass rush, the great defensive line controlling the run, secondary, obviously, and you've already talked about that. What about the Alabama linebacking core? When you think about great Alabama defenses, it starts with elite linebackers sideline to sideline. As Alabama takes the field today, what do you think of this linebacking group?
I think they have a chance to be really special. I remember talking to somebody on staff in December and them just raving about the development of Deontay Lawson and Jihad Campbell and how they could become the best inside linebacker duo in the country. Now, a lot has changed since then. The person who told me that, no longer there. But I think the talent and the ability is still there. And if you can build from the inside out like that, and you have guys with that kind of athleticism and understanding, I think they have a chance to be really good. And that, again, will help solidify everything. You have to learn a new defense. That's the most complicated for guys like that, like Boston could be calling out plays. But I think they have a chance to be really solid up front. And in a league where you do have to respect the run quite a bit, it's going to help to have guys like that.
J.C. Latham's going to be a first-round lock next month in the NFL draft. Caden Proctor goes back home to Iowa. Who are the tackles going to be?
I'm looking at Pritchett to at least try to lock down one of those spots, and then we'll sort of see from there. I think there's a bunch of options. And again, if we're peeking ahead to April 15th when the portal reopens, I could see them going out and trying to find somebody with experience to get that spot. Otherwise, you might be mixing and matching some guys. I don't think the loss of Proctor, of Caden Proctor, stinks quite as much as losing Latham. Proctor had his moments last year, but he was a little rough around the edges. I think they can withstand that. It's just the numbers game where they're at right now. But to me, if you can at least get one of those spots sort of stored in order in the spring, Pritchett again is the guy to me who I think I expect a lot out of. If they can get that and move forward into the fall and sort of figure it out from there, I think they might be in a decent spot. But the two tackle positions are by far the biggest concern when you talk about up front on offense.
Whether you're at an Alabama basketball game or wherever you go, you see a lot of Jalen Milroe these days. He's almost the face of this program right now. He seems to be in a great mood and seems to love the thought of this coaching staff coming in. And that's with good reason, I would imagine. These guys have a reputation of developing quarterbacks.
Oh, no doubt. And they have a reputation not just for developing them and turning them into high-level players. It's using what they do well and not trying to make them something they're not. So if you're somebody like Jalen Miller that likes to use his legs, I know he can be a little bit particular about not being referred to as a running quarterback, but he's athletic. He likes to use his athleticism. They're going to try to lean into that and really fit the offense to him. They're not set in what they do. And as a quarterback who's played a lot of games, I think you got to be excited about that, especially when you know up in Indianapolis right now you can talk to your buddy Terran Arnold, and he'll tell you all about Michael Penix and what he was able to do and really transform as a quarterback with that DeBoer as a major influence and guys under him. I think there's going to be a lot of positive feedback there. And he's just Jalen overall is a really interesting player to me this year because as good as he was last year, and he really developed into a great player, and don't want to take anything away from him, I think the upside is still tremendous if he can figure out some of those things like the short to intermediate passing game, between the numbers, managing the pocket, all of those things that reps really help. But I think a new coaching staff and a fresh perspective could do him a load of good as well. I'm really excited to see how he develops.
Alex, we all remember a time when Alabama fans would get extremely uncomfortable when a kicker would take the field. That wasn't the case the last 5 years with Will Reichard on to the NFL now. What happens at that position?
It's Connor Talty's job to lose, and on paper he looks like a great prospect, a tall kid, lanky kid with a big leg. I think he's number 2 in 247's rankings a couple of years ago. On paper it makes sense, but we all know with kickers, a lot of it's between the ears. Alabama had a lot of kickers through the years who could kick the ball a long way and on paper make complete sense, and then when they got on the field it was kind of a little dicey, and it was. I don't know if Alabama fans it was 5 years. Hopefully they haven't forgotten what it's like to have a normal kicker, because maybe there might be a little bit of a setback there. But getting Connor Talty in there, he got his feet wet a little bit last year, but I kind of worry because the expectation became pretty great with Will Reichard. And when you have the all-time scoring leader in the SEC walking away, that's some tough shoes to fill, and we'll get to see a little bit in the coming weeks how he's able to do that, especially A-Day when it is, again, the pressure with these guys is when it starts to become different. It's usually ability's always there. Interested to see what he looks like in front of a live audience.
Okay, Alex Scarborough, 2 more quick ones. One's half joking. You can read Alex's work starting today all through football season now at Bama 24/7, Bama 24/7. If you enjoyed his work covering Alabama and the SEC at ESPN, you'll love him as a senior writer at Bama 24/7. That's where you find Alex's work now starting today, and he's got a great story up about some of the interesting points going into the start of practice today for Alabama, which is this afternoon just after 3 o'clock. Kalen DeBoer will be talking later on today. Andrew in our chat room says, basically, is Nick Saban now just a defensive analyst because he's meeting with Kane Womack a couple of times already? How involved do you think Nick will be with the program?
Well played. It's a great joke. Nick made the analyst a thing. I'm not mad at that. I'm very curious. Like, in all seriousness, I'm very curious to see how much he wants to be around, because, like, that's got to be awkward, right? Like, you've been the greatest coach of a generation, and not just that, you put everything you had into a job your entire career, and suddenly you're retired, but you still sort of want to be there. So the mix of, like, how awkward it is to try to be involved without going completely all in, how much you want to give Kalen DeBoer and that staff space to do what they need to do, understanding what you would have felt like as a coach. There's so many interesting wrinkles to that I'm very curious to see how involved he wants to be. I know they want him involved as much as possible because he's a great defensive mind, a great coach, a great sounding board. But very curious to see how many times he's walking through the Malmore Athletic Facility, how many times he's actually stepping foot in that office, because, frankly, he should enjoy retirement. I'm curious to see how much he wants to be part of the actual football work.
I think we will talk to you again before the portal actually opens up again, but how much do you think the portal will be part of the discussion over the next 5 weeks?
It's going to be a huge part of the discussion. I just don't know how much it's going to be a reality of, like, adding X number of players. I don't think the scholarship numbers are crazy low that they need to go in and go crazy in the portal. And more practically speaking, the guys who are going to be difference makers who are moving on, most of them already did. They made up their mind after last season what they were going to do at other schools and win in the winter and got it done and over with. That's not to say quality guys, a couple of quality guys might not still hit the portal, but it's not going to be in the numbers that we saw in the winter. So I expect them to add a few pieces. I just don't think it's going to be like a wholesale change. I think the roster mostly is what it is at Alabama for now.
All right, Alex, man, thank you for your time. Back at the practices today as Alabama and Kalen DeBoer take the field for the first time without Nick Saban, at least as the head coach. We'll see if he's at practice for the first time in 17 years. Alex Scarborough with us on the JohnsonRVCenter.com hotline. Alex, have a good day, man. Thank you. Appreciate Alex jumping on with us there. Also, the show being brought to you today by a couple of folks, including our friends at Gutter Cap.
205-823-2212. Basketball has madness in March, but homeowners who clean their gutters have it all year long. Eliminate your gutter cleaning madness forever with Gutter Cap. Call my good friend Chris Stewart today, 205-823-2212. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau for 2 decades and on the board of directors. Gutter Cap, it's a patented aluminum cover system. It fits over most gutters, eliminates that dangerous job.
Look how good the roof looks with that on there.
A ladder and cleaning out your gutters. 45% right now off the retail price as well. Call 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com. Cap it, don't snap it, Gutter Cap.
And also, our friends right there at Precision Sports, maybe you got out in the yard this past week, maybe you played golf, or I don't know, maybe you were trying to head to Wetumpka to watch your kid play softball or something and got out of the car and slipped on some wet pavement. Whatever you did to tweak a back or a knee or anything this weekend, our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics will get you back in your game. They are your provider. Here's the number. You can schedule an appointment, 205-512-3885. 512-3885. You'll see that number on the screen right there. PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024. PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024. Orthopedic care, better together. They'll get you back in the game. It's our friends at Precision Sports and Orthopedics. PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you, 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show, as always, brought to you by our friends at Champy's. Brownie is off vacation all week long. He's back with us a week from today. LT and I are here. Rockstar, Tyler, Forrester, Lunsford, Taylor Corn handling everything social media. Emily Grace McWhorter has got our reporter hat on today. She's handling everything behind the scenes for us up here, and we appreciate you being with us. Remember, like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up. Champy's Chicken right there on 119 in Alabaster will serve up lunch for you. You can always give them a thumbs up. Sterling and the crew brined that chicken overnight, unbelievably cooked to order, piping hot. I'm a big two-breast guy and all the great sides. Hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. champyschicken.com. Let's sort of do everything in this segment, including four downs. So let's go back to basketball and react, as we did at the start of the show, to Tennessee beating Alabama 81-74. Here's Nate Oates after the loss, and Alabama's got 2 games left. What are they playing for now? Here's Nate.
That's hard. We're not in full control whether we win it or not anymore. We were going into tonight. We had full control over whether we won the championship. Now we need some help. So we'll see how mature our guys are, because we talk to them all the time. Control the things you can control. What we can control now is our effort on Tuesday, our effort on Saturday, and if we're looking, for help and not getting it, and that affects our effort, then we're not as mature as we need to be. So we got to take care of our business. If we get some help, great. If we don't, we could still get a 2 seed. We're certainly looking to get a bye. Not to play till Friday. The easiest way to win the tournament championship is to get the highest seed you can get. So at this point, we're playing for seeding, and if we get some help, great. If we don't get any help, we didn't deserve to win it. We need to win this one to have full control over our destiny, whether we win the regular season or not.
At Florida tomorrow night, that's a tough game. And he's talking about SEC tournament seeding, but more importantly, NCAA tournament seeding.
I mean, the last couple of weeks, all I've seen is a 3 seed.
Yeah. The question now, and there were times they were sneak on that 2 line, or they were very close to being on that 2 line with Lenard.
But it seemed pretty consistent. It was a 3, but now you're wondering if they play their way out of a 3.
That's right. Could you play your way to a 4 or even a 5, which makes your path so much more difficult than being what could have been a 2 if you won the SEC regular championship, or 3 if you can hold on and stick the landing down the stretch here, because their numbers are still good, but they're number 8 in the KenPom right now. Tennessee is number 5, and Auburn is 6 in the KenPom. But everyone seems to be talking now that Tennessee could be that 4th number 1 seed after the win, if they win the SEC regular season. If they go on to beat South Carolina on the road and Kentucky to end the season, that they could be that 4th number 1 seed.
Well, I think they should be. I mean, I think there are 3 what are so-called locks right now at the ones: Houston, UConn, Purdue.
Easy.
But to me, right there with those teams is Tennessee. They're the best team in what is the second best league right now.
And Arizona, who's ahead of them in KenPom, just has not, in their conference, has not played the same exact competition.
Yeah, nice 20-point win this past weekend. Caleb Love was really good, but I still think, if these 2 teams played 10 times right now, I would have Tennessee winning 7 of these games.
Yeah, so And SEC tournament seeding.
Forster's got the seeding up right now.
Is this today? Oh, the latest one from Lenardi. There you go. Number 1 seeds, Purdue, Arizona, UConn, and Houston. So it's Arizona, UConn, Houston, Arizona. And then Tennessee is right there behind Arizona. So they're the highest 2, and Arizona's the lowest 4. Then North Carolina, Marquette, and Iowa State. Alabama has dropped not just to the 4 line, but near the end of the 4 line. In fact, Alabama and Auburn virtually the same place, separated as the 15th overall seed. San Diego State's the 16th overall seed, and Auburn is there as the 17th overall seed on the 5 line, the first on the 5 line. Kentucky has actually passed Alabama. They're the best 4 seed. So that's where they are right now. Always interested. Last 4 in, Seton Hall, Virginia, New Mexico, and Wake Forest. First 4 out, St. John's. Rick Pitino's team's making a push. Utah, Providence, and Iowa. Way down the list, A&M and Ole Miss way off the board now, so it's trending where the SEC is going to get 7 in.
It's an interesting fall for Alabama, where they would have been if they would have won this Tennessee game. And this is what happens when you go over 9 minutes without a field goal in the second half and you're 1 of 17 during that stretch. I mean, the best thing that happened to Alabama this past weekend was the kid hitting the half-court shot at game day, right?
Yeah, at game day. It took $19,000 in tuition on.
That's pretty impressive. Of course, that gets you 6 hours now at Bama?
Yeah, it doesn't get you the full ride anymore. Auburn won. Auburn's best chance of moving up to that 4 line is to take care of their 2 easy wins this week, and then possibly for Alabama to drop the Tuesday night game at Florida. Auburn's got Missouri and Georgia, and then the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. Janai Broome, after beating highly ranked Mississippi State this past weekend.
Just how big is it as y'all get closer and closer to the postseason, to knock down these threes at the rate y'all have been doing?
Coach always says, he's been saying recently, this is time to get hot. It's time to make a run. We don't plan on losing no more. SEC tournament, we got 2 more games in SEC tournament. And then we got March Madness, so we don't want to lose any more games, and this is time to get hot if we're going to get hot.
Denver Jones had 3 threes in that game, 9 3-pointers for Auburn. Again, they're hitting some threes. Janai 17 and 6 in that contest at Missouri tomorrow night. So that's basketball. Tell me about Hemphill and lanceslock.com, and then I will jump in to a little bit more of the football news that's out there today.
Yeah, trusted name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. That is Hemphill Services. Hard to stop a train. Call 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, make sure you tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And they also bring you lanceslock.com. 10 of the last 11 NBA plays. He's got a couple of college basketball plays tonight. Interesting games in college basketball. Duke and NC State tonight at 6 on ESPN. Then Texas on the road at Baylor tonight in a big game there in the Big 12. Texas still trying to pad their resume and be a big part of the NCAA tournament. UAB dropped one yesterday. Andy Kennedy got kicked out of the game. They blew a 22-point lead to Memphis. They had a 22-point lead in the first half, and they end up losing 106-87. UAB has not given up that many points since they gave up 106 to UNLV in 1990. How good was that UNLV team in 1990?
It was a better team in 91 that I guess ultimately didn't win the national championship, but that team in 90 was really, really good. And just such a weird performance how UAB could be that dominant in the first half, and in the second half to give up 60 points.
Yeah. Was 22-point lead. I think Memphis cut it to 15 going to the locker room, and then they were letting the Memphis kids push UAB around with no foul calls, and Andy lost it. They were really pushing Yaks away with a forearm shiver, just manipulating him anytime they try to get him the basketball. And Andy lost it. Those 4 free throws put Memphis ahead, and then they pulled away.
It's hard to see this in the college game where you can have a team up 22 and then be down by 21. You see that in the NBA. You see those kind of runs all the time.
Yeah, 22-point comeback for Penny Hardaway, passing his record of a 20-point comeback for a win that he set in 2019, also against UAB.
UAB turned it over 18 times. Yeah, just a complete meltdown in the second half.
And 23 offensive rebounds. You guys have been talking about it in the chat room. I wanted more from you. Why do you trade Justin Fields if you're Chicago? And then really, what do you think Justin Fields is as a quarterback? Because if Chicago is dumping him, then they obviously don't think he can be a franchise quarterback. Why would you want him if you were, say, the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, look, you didn't have a good running game to lean on. He was your leading rusher this year, playing in 13 games. To me, Fields has got a ton of upside, but it's hard to pass on what a lot of people believe is going to be a generational quarterback in Caleb Williams. And I know a lot of people in the chat don't like him for a multitude of reasons, but that's a tough spot to be in if you're Chicago to get rid of that guy. Justin Fields got better when he got more weapons around him. Still not a great running game. DJ Moore coming over to Chicago, that helped, a guy that can stretch the field a little bit. I think if you're Chicago, you're in a great spot. I think you get some value for Fields. Not only do you get Caleb Williams, you find him another receiver in this draft.
Terrion Arnold had a big combine this weekend and a wonderful interview on the NFL Network with Stacey Dales that went viral everywhere. We was talking to his mom. Could be the first corner taken.
Yeah, it's going to be him or the kid from Toledo. I know the guy from Clemson has moved up as well, but I read an article this morning. Somebody's got the Toledo kid as their number one, but the one I read this morning is Terrion still their first corner to come off the board. Didn't blaze it in the 40, but good enough. And his interview skills are off the chart, which we knew they would be.
Yeah, so good for Terrion there in a big weekend. One more thing before we do four downs here, Rockstar. Johnny Manziel, and now we had this discussion.
It's coming up on four downs if you want to hold it.
Oh, it is. Okay, it's coming up on four downs. Interesting take. We had a take about Reggie Bush back in the summer before football season happened. Manziel now is on that drum as well. We'll talk about that in four downs, which is brought to you by our friends at Slice. Slice Pizza open for lunch, 4 great locations, and a 5th one coming soon.
Yeah, stop in, see the Bajaya brothers, local pizza, local ingredients from the soul pie to the Bajaya special. You're going to absolutely love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Okay, deeper in the tournament this year, Tennessee, or you can have the SEC field.
You know, it's so hard without seeing the bracket. I think Florida can be dangerous. I think Kentucky can be dangerous.
Kentucky's going to be dangerous. You know they're just going to show up to play once they get to the tournament.
I think Auburn can be dangerous, and I'm still scared a little bit about Alabama's. I'm scared about Auburn's guards and Alabama's defense. I think I would take Tennessee to go deeper than anybody else.
I think I would too, and that's kind of crazy when you think about all the value you get from all these other teams, but I just think Tennessee's that good.
Forster said field easy.
Well, I think that's probably a Rick Barnes thing. Is that right, Forster? Yeah, a lot of people just don't trust him.
That is definitely a Rick Barnes thing. I've been burned by him too.
Yeah. But if you're a 1 seed, which they're trending in that direction, and if they win both games this week, regardless of what they do in Nashville, they'll be a 1 seed. That's a gimme game for the most part, then a fairly easy game next. So now you're to the Sweet 16. Now you're asking yourself how many other SEC teams actually win to and make it to the next weekend. Every time Alabama loses, their path to getting to the Sweet 16 gets a little bit more difficult. And Auburn doesn't have a lot of more quality wins left to change where they are too much.
I'd be surprised if the SEC, worst case, 3 teams Sweet 16, probably 4 though.
Oh, you think 4 SEC teams?
I think 4 can definitely get to the Sweet 16. Tennessee's going to be one of those. I'm with you. I mean, I know that history's against you with Rick Barnes, especially in Knoxville, but I would take Tennessee.
I would, if you put it at 3.5 in the SEC in the Sweet 16, I would take the under.
I mean, I'll put it at 3.5 if you want to do it. You're Jimmy SEC.
I mean, I would take under 3.5 in the Sweet 16.
To make it to the second weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet 16. I got under for a steak there. Yep. Our steaks at New York Butcher Shop, by the way. Go by and get those great.
I'll pick some up Friday. They were maybe the best I've done. You finally did yours with the iron skillet and then broiled, right?
I did.
What'd you think?
It was fantastic. It was a rainy day, and Brown's not here to clap back at me. I texted you instantly. I said it was one of the best steaks I'd ever had.
I would almost guarantee if we do the blind taste test, and I do mine, like nobody back there is going to know the way these were done, but 3 out of 4, I would smoke Brown on this, on the just taste test.
Yeah, I would tell you that you can taste the wood when it's smoked over wood, and I do like that taste. but that was a delicious steak that I had. It was delicious. It was like it is hard for me now.
Yeah, and a lot of this is
to
not
go
like,
out and eat when I can make my own steaks.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
mean, that's what the product is so good at the New York Butcher Shop.
Absolutely.
Second down.
Okay, moving forward, which Hawkeye has the better career, Sam Laporta or Caitlin Clark?
I mean, Caitlin Clark now, she is going to the WNBA where she will be off the beaten path for most sports fans. But then every 4 years for the next 4 Olympics, she's going to be part of the Olympic team. And that's not as big as it used to be, but she'll still play in that really well. And she's just an iconic female athlete. So I'm going to go Caitlin Clark.
I think I'm going to go Sam Laporta here. We know Iowa's got the great history with tight ends. I mean, he was one of, outside of Puka Nacua, that rookie that really shined. And he's with an organization now that looks like they're not going anywhere. I kind of doubted Detroit because there was pressure on them to really succeed this year. And they get to an NFC championship game, and he's one of many weapons on that offense. So
but don't you?
I think Caitlin Clark's best days, unfortunately, look, she's still got a great future in the WNBA, but I think this is like her high moment in time.
Don't you think, though, that Laporta as a rookie snuck up on some people as the season progressed on?
Well, I mean, even with that said, when you start to look at, Jamison Williams, a guy that didn't play the entire year, when you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, when you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, these other weapons, and you've got to account for all of this.
Third down.
Fun team right now in Detroit.
Okay, what happens first? Texas A&M in the college football playoff or Johnny Manziel back in New York for the Heisman presentation?
I think not because of Johnny Manziel. I believe the Heisman Trust will have to give the Heisman Trophy back to Reggie Bush. And there's the tweet Johnny sent out. He's not going to go to the ceremony anymore. The funny part about that, Forrester and LT, it doesn't sit right with my morals and values. I've seen the guy smoking pot on social media, holding up stacks of cash in a Scooby-Doo outfit with a scantily clad woman. God knows what else. He took the Browns for a boatload of money, basically robbed them without a mask on. For him to say moral and ethics.
Probably the wording, probably not the best from Manziel. Probably would have left that out. I don't think the Heisman Trust cares whether or not he comes around.
Yeah.
But I think it is so hypocritical where we are with NIL today that sooner than later, Reggie Bush is going to get reinstated.
In fact, it should be before we kick off another football season. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. Relatively speaking, the last 2 Heisman Trophy winners because of NIL have made millions of dollars before they won the Heisman. This guy got a couple of $100,000 and his family got a home.
The most impressive thing out of that was the fact that we all thought the Manziel family was rich, just based on one thing that was thrown out there.
Yeah, I thought they were.
Everybody did.
Yeah. I would also say that I would expect other Heisman Trophy winners from the past to step up and say, we got offered money. We took money back when we played too. So you can't penalize this guy for what because now, with no rules, people are going to come back out and say, I got this, I got that when I played at Texas or Oklahoma or Notre Dame.
Why would you not, even if we didn't have NIL? I mean, statute of limitations is way up on this, and we know these guys were getting money back in the day.
So for Reggie to be punished like that makes no sense anymore.
Fourth down.
Where are you on this? More impressive streak. Oklahoma football in the 50s winning 47 straight, or Oklahoma softball winning 71 straight?
You know, it's funny. Excuse me. It's funny. Louisiana beat them, and they were 11-12 on the year already. Already played 23 games, but they weren't above 500.
Yeah, it's so strange.
I'm sorry.
And then for Oklahoma to be able to come back, like we're trailing by a couple of runs, take it to extra innings.
Yep. I felt like Oklahoma maybe rested. I didn't see the outcome. I felt like they rested some of the players maybe. Maybe didn't pitch their ace, and I think that happens over the course. So I'm going to say 71 straight softball games. That even you hit it well, it just goes right at somebody. They don't hit it well and it drops in for a hit. You play really good competition at Oklahoma. I think back when Oklahoma football ran off those wins, they were light years talent-wise better than a lot of teams that they played on a given basis. In their streak of 47, I bet they only beat 10 teams that were like competition.
Yeah, look, I mean, softball to a degree is top-heavy, but back then in the 50s, college football really was. and just running across one dominant pitcher in softball.
Yep.
And all of the really critical, high-profile games they played in the Women's College World Series. It's amazing they were able to win 71. So this might be worthy of a poll question, but I agree with you. I think it would be the softball winning 71 straight.
So if you want to throw that out there, Taylor, more impressive what Oklahoma's women's softball did, 71 straight, or what Oklahoma football did back in the 50s, where the number is 47 straight wins, and that is still the record that stands today for consecutive wins in college football. That's our 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, get in for a slice and salad today for lunch. 4 locations, the original in Lakeview, one in Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, coming soon to Homewood, slicebirmingham.com.
And by our friends at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Listen, I'll tell you about Leslie and her board-certified team with these words: no contract, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is free. Those 3 things right there means you can try out Way to Wellness like we did up here with absolutely no money out of your pocket. So why not jumpstart your weight loss, or maybe control your cholesterol or blood pressure through your diet with our friends at Way to Wellness? It is such an easy plan that is designed specifically for you, and it will help you in your life to where you're not so reliant and hungry for that next meal all the time. It is fantastic. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Here's the website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com, and you'll get all the information you need right there. Aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter @RockstarBHM.
It's that time of year again. The Legacy Swap and Drop promotion is back. It's bigger than ever. Swap your current auto loan or RV loan to Legacy and drop your interest rate and monthly payment. Don't miss out on this opportunity to save big with our friends at Legacy Credit Union. Not a member yet? That's okay. You too can save by becoming a member today. Head over to swapanddrop.com. Apply in minutes. That's swapanddrop.com, or visit one of their 9 greater Birmingham area branches. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions may apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you: Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Did you know that colon cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in America, and that it affects men and women equally? If you're older than 45, Rump Shaker encourages you to talk to your doctor about screening options that are available. Colon cancer is preventable, treatable, and beatable, but early detection is the key. For more information, please visit us. Go to rumpshakerinc.org. Also, 6th annual Rump Shaker 5K coming up Saturday, March 23rd at Regents Field. You can register online, rumpshakerinc.org.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Tournament time is almost here, but any time is a great time to jump on with MyBookie.ag. When you sign up at MyBookie.ag, use code NEXTROUND for a special sign-on bonus. You can use that bonus right away. Win once with it, it is yours and yours forever. Not like some of the sites that make you win 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times before you keep the bonus. You win once at MyBookie.ag, it is yours forever. Basketball tournaments, NBA, the start of Major League Baseball, NASCAR, and golf. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the next round. Little T's going to join us for trash coming up here momentarily. I got an interesting story as well. How much effort would you put into something if you got paid $6 million? That's coming up right after LT tells us about the Alabama Betting Alliance out there.
Yeah, your opportunity to let your voice be heard right now. All you got to do is write this number down, 334-261-0800. Alabama State Senate will soon decide if you get the right to vote on lottery, casinos, and sports betting. They need to hear from you. Did you realize Alabama, one of only 12 states you can't legally bet on sports? House Bill 151 allows you to choose whether you can place a bet on the big game this weekend. Call your state senator today. Tell them yes on the lottery and gaming bill. For more information, sportsbettingalliance.org, paid for by the Sports Betting Alliance, sportsbettingalliance.org, or call today, 334-261-0800.
Annette Albani is the son, the main heir to one of the richest people in the world. His dad has a $116 billion net worth.
It'll be tough to spend that.
He's getting married in July, so he had a pre-wedding party this past weekend that included Zuckerberg and Musk.
Is that Rihanna?
Hillary. And Rihanna was the entertainment for this pre-wedding party. He paid her $6 million to come and perform at this pre-wedding party. But afterwards, he said her performance was lackluster and she wasn't into it. She basically took $6 million and said,
Well, that's pathetic.
F the attenders.
Well, that is pathetic. I mean, for $6 million, she should put on what she puts on if she's at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
in front of 20,000.
Are we sure that she didn't?
Well, no. Another thing I was going to say, did you watch the halftime performance? I don't think she gave it her all. I know she was like 10 months pregnant, but still, like she did not want to be there.
$6 million. She got the wedding party. His little sister got married a couple of years ago, and Beyonce played at her pre-wedding party. Now the wedding's not until July. But the whole thing for the sister's wedding, and she's not the main heir, so this guy's going to spend more money. They spent $102 million on her wedding.
What?
Well, just do a 1% return on $116 billion, though. I mean, if you're just putting it in a freaking savings account, guy can never spend all of his money. But what is the expectation if you are one of his kids now, or if you're one of his? Does he have multiple wives or just one?
I do not know the details. I know this one guy that's getting married is the main heir. And in that picture right there, Rihanna, she doesn't look like she can stand on her own accord at that point.
Doesn't.
Like, these two guys are helping her around. It's like Weekend at Bernie's. Just an insane story. $6 million to do one gig, a private party.
Well, that's not her Liam Neeson back there, is it? The dude with the members-only jacket on?
Oh, that's her guard. Yeah, it's got to be security.
I was like, yeah.
He looks like he's aged out. I would take the guy on the left with his back turned, but the dude on the right looks like he's well into his 60s.
Yeah, $6 million. I would give it my all, 100%. Let's do trash. It's time for LT's Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Hit the big button, Rockstar.
Well, shit. What are y'all doing? This is awful. It's still March. How many days in March?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Are you a veteran looking for a VA loan? Mortgage Right has been advocating for veterans since their company began. As a veteran-owned, operated company committed to your well-being, they can help you find the best terms available, guide you through every step of the process. Visit their location on Highway 280 in Birmingham. You can apply mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. This first story on this principal, Rocky, where is this? What country?
This would be, I think, China.
This is pretty amazing. A junior high school principal lost his job and his retirement, believed to be around 20 million yen, equivalent of $135,000 American dollars, as punishment for overfilling his coffee at a convenience store.
What?
Here's how the story goes.
Critics, Japan.
Okay, have questioned the Board of Education's decision to apply the most severe penalty available, saying it's akin to giving a death sentence for an offense of little monetary loss. Now, according to the board, principal paid 75 cents at the counter of a convenience store to buy a regular-sized coffee at a self-service coffee machine on December 21st. However, store clerk noticed that he filled his cup by pressing the button for a large coffee, which cost $1.20.
Justified, I think.
When confronted, 59-year-old principal of the city-supported school admitted on cheating on his coffee purchase. He also admitted he had done it twice before at the same store. That's when the board announced the principal's dismissal on January 30th. They revoked his teaching license and forfeited his retirement. I mean, this guy is chintzy for doing this, but my God.
But think about the amount of people in the United States that ask for a water cup and then go to a whatever those things are called and get anything besides water.
That's why they give you a thimble now when you say a water cup. Like, they literally give you a Dixie cup. Like, seriously, I'm really going to drink water. This is what you're going to give me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to cheat the system.
But honest to goodness, those machines that are self-dispensing, like even your Keurig, when you get it as it goes longer, it doesn't put the same amount in to start with. So what used to be a full cup on my Keurig, by the time I'd had it like a year, it was only giving me like half a cup. So sometimes I would have to make it like 2 cups and at the last moment slide another one in or something.
I'm not going to pretend to know the cost of coffee, but I know on soft drinks there is, for what they're spending.
Exactly.
There's, I mean, I think it's 100 times the profit or something crazy.
It's water running through beans, by the way. Nothing else in it. And to me, I should be able to get the amount of coffee that fits my cup size. So if I've got 1 cup, you hand me 1 cup, then I should be able to fill that up I can go over the edge if I want to and just let it burn my hand. But I should be able to get my whole cup full. This is insane.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I'll do a full admission here. Like, I don't typically cut the corners, like when Brown walked in the theater and just conveniently.
Well, that's just stealing.
But they didn't charge me.
But I was downstairs and we had a meeting going on, and I had gotten 2 items. I had gotten some Sun Chips and I got a Payday. Sun Chips, I was able to scan the bar. I sat there for 5 minutes with a Payday and it wouldn't go through on the commissary downstairs, so I just took the Payday. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. If they want to come get their money, they can. But
that'll end up coming out of your Payday. It'll work out really good.
Have you guys ever skirted the system a little bit?
No, I accidentally did in Auburn at the C store, which is just our little thing on campus. It's kind of like a tiny grocery store. And I think I was late to class. I was really tired and I was just kind of walking through the motions. And I walked in and I got a drink. I remember it so vividly because I felt awful after. I got a thing of strawberries and something else. And I just walked right past. I was walking through the motions, and I just walked right past the checkout. And I get halfway to, I don't even remember where I was going, wherever I was going, and I looked down, and I was like, I just did not pay for any of this at all. But it wasn't purposeful. I wasn't like running low on dining dollars.
The clerk was probably scanning the phone and looked up and was like,
yeah, but I felt awful.
Yeah, but how about straw? You think she's the only student that went into a convenience store and got strawberries?
I would tell you this: halfway to Coleman Coliseum after we watched the Auburn game, I was debating on whether or not we settled up that last round of drinks.
Yeah.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Al Jorgensen?
It's Jorgensen.
The longtime frontman of the industrial metal band Ministry. You're a big Ministry fan, right?
Absolutely.
Got a little big Kingsley in him.
Yeah, I could see that a little bit.
Wow. To have that much hair and that skinny of arm, that doesn't look good.
So he did a detailed interview about his life in The Guardian. Jorgensen, known for his battle with substance abuse, recounted a bizarre incident where he had to undergo a toe amputation after stepping on a hypodermic needle.
Oh, no.
We all do it.
It gets more interesting, though. In the interview...
Which does it say which little piggy couldn't go home anymore?
Jorgensen mentioned that his friend Dave Navarra, pictured there on the right, guitarist for Jane's Addiction, offered him $20,000 for the amputated toe. Now, Navarro apparently collects curios, including body parts, and was keen on adding the toe to his collection. However, Jorgensen said after the doctors amputated the toe, they would not allow him to keep it, which is kind of weird. Why would you not be able to keep your toe?
They probably want it for that $20,000 or however much someone will pay for it.
Now, see, Dave Navarro was the one that married Carmen Electra. That didn't last, but they're the ones on their wedding announcement. They were both on the mortician slab holding hands.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very strange.
He's a little dark.
But, like, I would have, I got the tonsils removed this past March. I'd have given them up for $500.
I just don't understand who would want that and why.
Well, there's weirdos out there, Taylor.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is one of those situations.
One of the Jane's Addiction's biggest songs is called Because. And that's why he wanted it, just because. Just because.
So police summoned late Tuesday night to Body Talk, topless club in Florida, to investigate a alleged battery on a male customer. Now, the victim, John McClevely, told cops that he was, quote, talking to several employees of the establishment about his career and acknowledged that the women were upset he had not provided them any tips. Now, McClevely apparently ignored the strip club etiquette and said that he did not see any signs stating it was mandatory to tip. Now, according to an arrest affidavit, the employees were, quote, upset that the victim had not thrown money at them, which was commonplace for the establishment. A friend of McKelvey's told police that he was drunk and had been talking about having a lot of money and not wanting to provide a tip, which apparently led to a 9 p.m. confrontation with Victoria Jones, 28 years old. Jones told sheriff's deputies...
That's a little deep.
28.
That's what I'm saying. 28's a little deep in the dancing world.
Is it?
She's a seasoned veteran.
Jones told sheriff's deputies that McClevely was, quote, drunk and being rude. He had been following employees from table to table and verbally insulting them. Jones, cops said she picked up a small stack of money and threw it towards the victim, who was struck in the face with a legal tender. She claimed the cash was tossed in a, quote, non-aggressive manner, adding that this is a place where money is thrown everywhere. Now, McKelvey's friend told investigators that he observed Jones taking the money and slapping the victim with it. Club surveillance cameras recorded Jones and McClevely exchanging words before Jones hit the man with the cash and followed up with the open hand strike. The open hand strike, I get it. Like the money to the face, what does that do?
That's always my idea. Has always been on that stage at strip clubs. Each dancer should have an iPad. They should switch around before the dance, and you can tip 20%, 25%.
It would make it a lot easier.
They have a QR code on the tush.
This will surprise nobody up here. Strip clubs always were very high anxiety moments for me because
I hate them.
Because I am Jimmy Awkward, and I always felt like I should keep eye contact, which is defeating the whole purpose of the strip club.
You've got nice teeth.
Yeah, no, I would have like, oh, it was very nice of you to stop by and wanted to talk to me, blah, blah, blah. But I was so big on, eye contact. I didn't want to.
Well, they get you out. Rubbing your head. Well, you are such a handsome guy. Am I really?
You were great in Pacific Heights.
And then all the rule followers were always. I was always like over tipping and trying to make sure I was tipping. And if I talked to somebody, I gave them something. And
have you ever awkwardly been drugged to a strip club? Dunaway, the last time I was at a strip club was with Dunaway, and that was in 2015.
Neither one of us chose to go there, but we went.
Yeah, it was in
The
Dallas.
group was going.
In Dallas?
Yeah, but we left almost immediately because I think it's fair to say we didn't feel safe, and somebody was shot there just a couple of years after.
Oh.
Yeah, it was two gangs that we were told that had taken
in Dallas, by the way,
opposite sides of the strip stage, and they were all against the wall. So we walk in and we were about to sit down some open seats close to the stage, and
like
the server was like, "Don't sit down there. Those belong to that gang, and don't sit over there because that belongs to that gang." And I was like,
"Yeah, this is a little too
Imagine
confusing."
Dunaway trying to break up a gang fight.
Yeah. You know what we call those people? Deceased.
Okay, so have you ever seen the movie Back to the Future?
No.
You would. I know you have a limited attention span when it comes to movies, but I think you would love Back to the Future. It's one of the iconic, maybe the most iconic 80s film. I didn't realize...
You never saw Back to the Future?
No, I've seen like 4 movies ever. So
Back to the Future, that would be a good one.
They have done Back to the Future, the musical. This opened on Broadway, August of 2023. Maybe we talked about it, Trash on the Table. I really don't remember it.
This could be good.
It followed the 2022 premiere of a production that continues to run in London and a pre-West End trial in Manchester. Now, the show will hit the road this summer for a North American tour. Back to the Future, the musical's near life-size DeLorean makes its first dramatic entrance partway through Act 1, prompting a roar of audience cheers as it swerves onto the stage. So dates are going to kick off in New York on June 6th, finish up in Toronto in August, Cleveland, Charlotte, L.A., Seattle, San Francisco, Dallas, and D.C. are among planned stops.
So how fast do you have to get it up to?
88.
88. So you'd have to rewrite some words, but I can't drive 88. I mean, you got to turn it into a musical, so you have to sing some of this.
Yeah, it's a little Hagar for the Back to the Future stuff.
A better question, have you ever been in the JCPenney? I see the JCPenney in the backdrop.
Maybe. Not recently. I know a JCPenney, but
What is the last national brand clothing store you've been into?
Lululemon.
Like Target? I don't know. I mean, a store
But you don't
that
buy clothes at Target.
Yeah, you don't buy.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought clothes from Target.
Yeah, I have.
Well, I have. I just didn't think
I
you
used
did.
to get they had a really good T-shirt, a $5 T-shirt. It was just a crew neck back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've bought clothes from Target. Target has good stuff.
I bought all of Brown when he lost a bracket challenge. I brought all of his stuff. Remember when he had to dress like that goofball?
Right.
And wear socks with sandals.
Oh, Bob Ross.
No, this was different.
A different bracket.
Yeah, keep up. There's a lot of them.
14 years. He's lost a lot of bracket challenges.
Okay, we're going to end on this. Here are examples of double standards. This one's so true. Now, being a morning person, getting up early to get a bunch of stuff done, then going to bed early is considered virtuous and mature. Being a night person, staying up late to get stuff done, sleeping late the next day is considered disorganized and lazy, even if you do the same amount of work and slept the same number of hours. That is true.
That is true. I feel like doing it at night, you get labeled a procrastinator.
Probably. I just think anybody a certain age, if you're sleeping past like 10 a.m.,
yeah,
it just looks lazy whether or not it is.
But I do my best work like I think 9 to midnight, 9 to 1 in the morning.
Oh, I would think that I'm probably right there with you. I'm more nocturnal than mornings.
Yeah.
Here's another example of a double standard. Canceling appointments. If I cancel an appointment, I get charged $50 or $100 like a doctor or therapist. But if I'm walking out the door and they call to cancel, there's no consequences for them.
That's what I've thought about this before, because you know how they always tell you for your doctor's appointments, get here 15 or 20 minutes early to make sure you got all your paperwork done, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't get there however early they're asking you to, they get frustrated. But then sometimes you get there on time and sit there for 45 minutes. And I get that it's like probably not their fault, so I don't know.
Have you ever had a doctor's appointment that it's 12:30 and you actually walk back at 12:30? It's impossible.
No.
I think their leeway is 30 minutes to an hour.
Oh, I got lost last week. I was going to the doctor and I got lost because it's like in a hospital building for 20 minutes. I ended up having to call and I was like, I'm in the hospital. I don't know where. And I walked in, I believe 30 minutes late. So I had to wait for every single other person to be seen before I was seen. So my wait time, that was self-inflicted though.
Most of my adult life, I had one doctor before he retired. And he was a big fan of our show.
Dr. Black?
Dr. Black. And if my appointment was 12:30, I was always in the back by 12:30. Now I was in the room by 12:30, but he had a lot of people to run through and see, but I would never be in the lobby past my start.
Yeah, I felt a little guilty with Ricketts for a minute because you would walk in before he moved to Vestavia City Center. You'd walk in that Hoover location. You don't remember Dr. Ricketts. He was on with us forever, the Doc on Jocks. But I'd walk into that crowded room in Hoover next to Full Moon Barbecue.
It was like Disney Fast Pass.
It was. And there was 1,000 people in there, and they all would look up when somebody would walk in, and the next thing you know, Ricketts has got one of his nurses bringing you through the bat hall.
Yeah, side door real quick.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Here's another double standard. This one's so true, too. If a dad gets pizza or fast food for his kids instead of cooking a meal, he's considered the fun dad. If mom gets pizza or fast food for her kids instead of cooking a meal, she's considered a lazy mom.
Double standard.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, if you heard that there's said mom and all she does is get drive-through every night for the kids, you're like, that's a little lazy. Now the kids love it.
Yeah. I think I may at some point tell Maggie probably like, hey, boy, we've got to, I mean, they got to get some nutrients. We can't give them Chick-fil-A every night.
Yeah. They probably loved it though.
And I'm sure Maggie, since she wears the pants in the house, quickly said, well, then you can cook the damn food for them.
Go ahead.
Or cut up some fruit for them.
Final example of a double standard: when Miley Cyrus gets naked and licks a hammer, she's artistic or edgy. When I do it, I'm drunk and no longer allowed at Home Depot.
I mean,
these things are true.
I don't see that as artistic. I mean, that was kind of disturbing to me also when Miley Cyrus did it. But I also don't look at...
But artists can get away with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can piss in a fountain if you're an artist and everything. Damn, he's just letting off some steam.
I never thought of it like that, the way he expresses himself.
The chat room says you don't watch TV or movies. What the heck do you do with your free time?
Red wine.
I like to drink some red wine. I hang out with my roommates. Last night we grilled. Now that the weather's nice, I'm starting to grill again.
Did you go burger last night?
Yes, I grilled my roommates' cheeseburgers.
You're scared to grill chicken, right?
No, I've done it. I've done it a few times. I actually did it last week. I was nervous though.
I don't like it.
Well, chicken's just tricky because you don't want it undercooked because salmonella is a real thing. But if you cook it too long, it sucks.
That's right.
Yeah.
And,
So
and Maggie is always quick to tell me, you overcooked the chicken.
The burger is you can't mess up a burger.
Yeah, and I love a burger.
Steak's the easiest. You can't mess up a steak.
Steak
Right.
makes me nervous.
I think you can overcook a steak.
Well, you can overcook it, but you can't undercook it. So no nervous. I'm never nervous with a steak.
I haven't grilled. I'm yet to grill a steak.
We're gonna give you the pointers on doing it the opposite way of brown, where you actually put it in the cast skillet, do about 3 minutes each side, then broil it on 450 for about 6 minutes. It's perfect. Comes out rare plus. Flavor's amazing. Got to get it from the New York Butcher Shop, though.
Bobby bringing up world famous Mons Venus down in Tampa.
I never went. My old man used to go all the time.
Yep, it was different. I was.
Did you ever go?
Several times, including one night before an Alabama game who was playing in the Outback Bowl, and a lot of the Alabama starters were at Mons Venus the night before the game.
Yeah,
I bet everything on the other team and got my ass kicked. Alabama won the game.
Was that the Dwayne Rudd pick six?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Was that Ohio State?
Yeah. We pulled in the parking lot one time, and then I was informed that they don't have alcohol. There's a lot of these strip clubs back in the day where it was part of,
because they were totally nude.
Yeah, it was part of the legal laws or whatever. And so I was like, I mean, that's next level when you're going to a strip club and you can't even have a drink.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, that seems backwards.
Yeah,
but they let you bring your own drink in, and they sell you mixers at the same price as if
there was alcohol in the drink.
Yeah. Like if I got a cranberry and ice to put my vodka in, not a manly drink, I know, but if that's what I was getting, it would have cost me $7.
Hey, did the new year add to your financial uncertainty? Let the experts at Mortgage Right help get your financial house in order. Their team of experts can make sure you're prepared for anything 2024 may bring, including freeing up cash, things you need to get done. Take control today. Visit Mortgage Right, Highway 280 in Birmingham. You can apply. MortgageRight.com/TNR. Call 205-815-9200. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
If you were at Champy's Chicken right now, you'd go chicken fingers?
Chicken fingers and ranch.
Hand-cut chicken fingers and his homemade ranch. Sterling and the crew bring you this hour. ChampysChicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Swing by there and pick up a wonderful lunch today, maybe dinner tonight. Take it home for the kid. It is jam-packed with nutrients. Be a super mom or super dad by going by and seeing Sterling today. 119 in Alabaster, ChampysChicken.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, if you're looking for Birmingham's best pizza, you need to stop in and see our friends at Slice Pizza and Brew. It's as local as you can get, from the ingredients that go into every pizza to the beer on tap. For a great lunch or dinner, go see our friends today, Vestavia or Lakeview at Slice.
Fire damage to your home or business is something you never want to consider. Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. But in the horrible event it happens, Dry Tech is here to help. They respond quickly and will reply to you within 20 minutes when you call 205-637-0143. They're working for you, the customer, not the insurance company. They've got 5 crews ready to go 24/7. Don't call the insurance company first. Call Dry Tech. Just remember this website, mydrytech.com. That is mydrytech.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in.
Of course, Emily Grace's, if you were with us on the local break there, Emily Grace McWhorter's promo, I don't even know what it was for, but it was, and Jim sleeping in the studio with no context. It's just because I'm the old guy, I fall asleep during the show is what it sounds like.
Oh, no, man. When you said, I'm not leaving until Alabama finds a head coach.
I know
we'll
that,
give
but
you one night.
But in the promo, it makes it sound like occasionally I just sleep in the studio.
EG, you need to put a disclaimer on your promo.
Make that spot a little bit longer. Two more things before the show's over with. Oh, but first let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. So important. I was talking to somebody who was battling prostate cancer as we speak and was so thankful he got early detected. UCA has 35 urologists, 16 locations across Alabama. There you see the number on the screen to call for an appointment, or you can go online to urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com, or call them up 205-930-0920. Treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between, urologycentersalabama.com. I was with Little T before the game. Me and some of her friends were at a local walk-ons watching Auburn play, and 4-star defensive lineman Antonio Coleman flipped from Auburn to Alabama. Now, if you're following along with him, he was an Alabama commitment, then he flipped to Auburn, now he's flipped back to Alabama, and she says, oh, that's a big deal. 4-star defensive lineman 2025 from Saraland, probably in the mix there with Ryan Williams going to Alabama. And I said, the guy's already flipped 3 times. What makes you think it's going to stick this time?
Very indecisive.
Yeah, probably will stick this time because Ryan has already committed and is at Tuscaloosa. But
boy, how tough would it have been for you to make one of those choices?
It would have been impossible. Every time I'd do a visit.
I mean, I guess the good news would have been Alabama was so. But if you didn't love Alabama as much as you did,
every time I would make a visit, I'd be, I love this place. I love you guys. I'm coming here.
So it would definitely be the last guy to get you on campus.
Would be the best one. And by the way, they're talking about there's been some push to get a third signing period in maybe June or July before the season starts. We need just one signing period. It needs to be in February like it used to be. The early one in December, they're talking about moving it up to right after or right before championship Saturday. If they put one in the summer, what we're going to end up having, and Greg Bird mentioned that when we were in Tuscaloosa, is seniors opting out of their senior year because I've already got my NIL deal to go play at X school and I'm going to make $1 million. Why am I going to risk it?
Yep.
My senior year. I'm going to go ahead and sign and opt out of my senior year in football.
And 99% of those guys will never play at the next level, and you're losing your best player and players. So, yeah, I think it's a bad idea. And there was something about this. You know, we've never been a big recruiting show, but there was something about that one Wednesday in February where it was exciting.
Yeah.
And now there is zero excitement just because it's 24/7, 365.
Because it bridged the gap between the Super Bowl and the start of spring practice. You had signing day that gave you a little time to talk about next year in college football. Speaking of the future, we talked to Josh Pate earlier on the show, Late Kick Josh, podcasted wherever you get our podcasts, audio-wise, Apple and Spotify. Like and subscribe there. Always on YouTube. Thumbs up and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Next Round Live on every social media platform. And he said that the discussion about 14 teams, automatic buys for SEC Big Ten champion, and automatic bids, 3 of them for the SEC, 3 for the Big Ten, and still some wild cards for those conferences, was just the 2 conferences laying down really a very strict policy, hoping that the Big 12 and the ACC will not sign off on it so they can go ahead and raid those conferences with expansion one more time and basically have an AFC, NFC. Give me a 60-second answer on what you thought Josh said earlier.
Oh, I think it makes a lot of sense because there is no way you can do it the way it is proposed right now. And I thought Sonny Dykes made the best analogy. I don't know if you saw this.
I did not.
He said it would be like the NFL giving the Cowboys a bye before the season starts because they've got more fans than the Bengals.
I understand what he's saying, but the best teams in the tougher schedules are going to be in the SEC and the Big Ten as we move forward. But this is what it would look like from Ross Dellinger, the 14-team playoff with the Big Ten and SEC champions getting the bye using last year's record. The bye would have been Michigan and Texas, and the 3 would have been Washington, and they would have played 14-seed Oregon State on campus. Bama would have been the 4 seed. They would have gotten 13-seeded Oklahoma State on campus. If they won, Alabama would have bounced out and played the winner of Florida State and Penn State.
Boy, Bama got a hell of a draw, didn't they?
Yep. And then if they won that, they'd go and play the top of the bracket, which would have been Oregon, Missouri winner taking on Michigan. Other side, it would have been Washington. If they won, they'd have played the winner of the Georgia-Louisville game.
Yeah, they got stuck on that one.
Yeah, and then also Texas would have played the winner of Ohio State, Arizona. How about Arizona would have been in the playoffs? And then you would have played your way on out from there.
Yeah, I think things would have been different. I think Alabama and Michigan still match up.
And I think Georgia and Texas would have matched up.
I don't know. I don't know if Texas gets by Ohio State. I do think Georgia probably gets by Washington, but I think you probably got a Georgia-Michigan rematch from a couple of years ago, and it's the last thing Michigan wanted to see.
So Ross Dellinger, Yahoo there, do you see that? Would you hate that every year with the SEC and the Big Ten champion?
No, again, though, if you're going immediately from, we haven't even played one game in the 12-team format. If you're going already and jumping to 14, I don't know why we don't go a clean 16 in the first 2 rounds on campus. We're ultimately going to get there anyway.
Yeah, because in that scenario, the SEC and the Big Ten champion does not get a home game. Fiesta Bowl, Cotton Bowl would have been there.
Yeah, and I like those home games. I mean, we've talked about it. There's just so much more excitement than playing these games at neutral sites.
That's the projected 14-team playoff from Ross Dellinger there. Excuse me. If you use last year's result. Fun, though. Interesting. It'll never happen, according to Josh Pate. Just posturing from the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to be impossible to have those 3 buys or those 3 provisions that the SEC and the Big Ten are just automatically in.
All right, that's our show today. We're back with you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Stephen Pearl scheduled to be with us at 9:25. We'll let you know who our other guests are throughout the week. Hope to have a fun week of conversation with you, with Alabama now in the practice field, joining Auburn and others. Much more football on the show tomorrow. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.